The character in the thumbnail is she's another Inquisitor we just met. She's our point of contact, and she's not our boss. I mean, all Inquisitors are our boss, but we're assigned to High Inquisitor Zerba, which is a different guy. This lady, I forget her name. It's a difficult name that I was having some trouble pronouncing it. It's like a long name. How's everybody doing? There we like, do images like have any? I'm like messing around with VLC stuff, like noticing how little there is. Like you should be able to get images to like, I don't know, why aren't there settings for like images to bounce around or rotate or something? Seems like an easy thing to just make them do. Weird program. I really gotta switch. Don't see a need to wait too long, but let's wait a minute because I was a little bit late, and like the this being an RPG, people might be a little unhappy if I get going before they get in here. Dark Heresy. There we go. Oog. Numbers are jumping up. Maybe just a minute longer. Grub is just staring at me in like eager anticipation of it being time, but it's not time. Arm stream indeed. In battle with Grub. Grub Buster. Alright, let's kill the music and get this going. Grub aura, yeah. I think we won't get another quarterly briefing until October. Owlcat hasn't done like a big, they were doing a bunch of, like PR pushes in July. I guess because that was when the beta popped. But I noticed they haven't done any since August 3rd. Hey, Ponder Dive. Does Grub commit dark heresies? No, she's a loyal servant of the Emperor. So yeah, last time we finished up in the like the under hive area in Merisportum, which was like a once a fishing colony that now produces drugs of unknown origin. They're probably some kind of Xenos crap from under the sea that actually eventually make their way up to these spires that we're in now. And because we worked with the Baron, we were able to discover that like who his patron is, like who's buying the drugs up here. It's a family that we haven't run into yet, but it might be useful. We got pulled into some kind of a crystal realm and met our reflection. Oh no, not again. No, 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 no. Here we go. Yeah. He's Lowry. Oh god, and we're a detective. We have to be careful. He's incredibly powerful. He's a psyker of unknown abilities, possibly unsanctioned. Here in the heart of the sector. This shot, by the way, is so funny. There's a let me see if I can find it. Lowry's Office Mystery of the Druids. Everyone is always like, why is Lowry floating here? Like, what's going on with this pose? So this is a pre-rendered environment that he's in, but it is a render. So it is a 3D. It's like somebody built this in like a 3D modeling program, and they like the space that these models are in is a 3D space. It's just that this background is just still images, and probably at one point you were meant to see Lowry from the front, and if he wanted to have his feet up on the desk, they would need to stretch his model out a little bit and make him out of his chair. So he would have been, he would have looked normal from the front because you wouldn't be able to see his butt. But somehow they switched the angle but didn't fix the model, which it seems like switching the angle would be the much harder thing to do. That's a very funny detail of a very, very funny and weird game. If you haven't seen the Mandalore video on it, it is one of my favorite like video game reviews ever. Mandalore Gaming Mystery of the Druids. He's T-posing, but he's T-posing for a reason. He's T-posing for an amazing reason. Commander, it's a Fusilier. What are we like? Oh yeah, so we have a blank spot in our group. This is Hypatia, who doesn't really have much, if any, dialogue yet. Doesn't have her like companion quest to join. We ran into her and it seemed like the guardsmen were giving her some trouble, and then it skipped whatever was supposed to be happening there, and now she's just on our team. She is she's a tech priest. She's in the she's a Megos biologist. I forget how they pronounce those words. because it's not just pseudo-Latin, it's pseudo-Latin through like an English accent, which always mangles the pronunciation on top of that. She's mostly a melee character. She's able to dual wield two-handed weapons, and so she's got our melta gun that we found, or sorry, that we got from the Mechanicus for helping them down under the city, and this power axe, and chain axe, and it's a chain axe, right? Doesn't say. She seems to be like a poison specialist, which fits with the biologists. They're like, they see bodies, and especially the human body, as just another machine. And she's supposed to be one of the romanceable characters, which we won't see in this beta, but a tech priest romance. Everybody wanted that in Rogue Trader, because especially because the tech priest in that game is very funny. He's a great character. But it didn't happen, and so I think Owlcat is like, we got to do it this time, and we got to make it weird. These luxurious seats are made of genuine leather. Yeah, I don't think the gear teeth on the axe move. Oh, that might just be a power axe then. It's hard to tell. So if it's a power axe, that would make sense. This would be the power source. The power weapon has like a battery in it and does something that makes it hit harder. It's never explained. I think it's like, you know, like a vibroblade in Star Wars. The Omniscion axe is just a power axe. Okay, thank you. I think there are chain axes that look like they have gear teeth, but those are the exception. The standard one is just a power one. The sisters are in there doing a thing. I don't think we're allowed in. Okay. Let's look at Return to the Governor. Yes. And he is in... He's in here. So we went with a Rogue Trader. Rogue Traders greatly outrank Inquisitorial Acolytes. Vermina, may I have a moment of your time? I didn't expect our paths to cross again so soon. Despite his words, Toma looks unamazed. Okay, so this is supposed to be Toma. We met Toma in the beginning. He was, he's somebody who was, he was a interrogator, which is like the rank between Acolyte and Inquisitor. I think there's actually like several ranks between, but like if you think of an interrogator as like a rank between those two. So he would have been our boss, and something happened in the prologue that got him demoted, and he's not a fan of ours. So he was pretty dismissive and angry at us when we first met him, and that was before we even came to the planet. Here he is, and he doesn't have his correct model, or he's in disguise. I'm not sure which. Okay, yeah, here's his profile, his image. So this guy's gonna be romanceable, right? You don't draw a guy like that with a cigarette in his mouth and those slutty little robot feet. So yeah, he's been demoted to Acolyte. He blames us for that, which is pretty bad for us, like pretty dangerous, but he seems like maybe a pretty straight shooter, so. Both our mission's success depends entirely on how tonight unfolds. Spare me a little of your time now and for the rest of the festivities, and you may dispose of mine however you wish. Great, let's work together. With a brief nod, Toma goes right behind you. Lead the way. Okay, we will... So I'm not leaving Discordance, not know how. I want to keep Hypatia around just because I want to see what limited dialogue she does have. I like Epione, and she's recently become very useful, but also she seems to have some stuff going on with Aspis, which is pretty cool. Rocky is like invaluable to the team. She's amazing, but she doesn't have much to contribute here, and she's not Cog, so I think we'll give her a break. We'll probably bring her back in after Toma goes away, unless he stays, and then we'll see. Yeah, so we'll give Rocky some bench time. All right, let's look at Toma. So he's also an officer. Officer is like the morale archetype. Voice of command. The target ally gains +2 morale. Yeah, let's do that one. We were looking for ways to increase morale. Epione might be real gay for Aspis. Yeah, so we're keeping Epione around for if that reason, if nothing else. But she's also pretty cool. I like her. She presents herself as like this very clinical, like this very clinically detached, like hyper methodical, almost like Mechanicus-y in how focused she is on her work. But underneath that, she actually seems to be like a very compassionate person, to the point where she seemed very moved by some one of the Kroot and their wife were like, I think the wife had died, and she was like really upset about it. Like Epione was like noticeably upset, which is unusual for an Imperial, obviously. He's a Scala brat. Yeah, I think he's like what I was saying would be fun to play as for like a like make a commissar, right? Toma gains an additional heroic ability, Scala Progenium, Let the Shadow Rise. The ability allows him to activate Shadow Side until the end of turn. What's that do? Oh, yes. So Toma has a kind of a bipolar mechanic. When his morale is positive, so he's like normally like just a commander. However, when he and he's got like some ranged abilities. If he would ever be broken, like if his morale would ever get to 0, he gains a bunch of he loses like his fellowship and ballistic skill and intelligence, but gains a bunch of strength, agility, and weapon skills. So he like flips from being like he's like nerd rage, right? Like he's like a ranged support guy until his morale gets broken, and then he becomes like a melee berserker. And that's a heroic ability. We may as well grab it because it's just so unique. Oh, okay, so he's already got that. He's already got that. So that just powers it up, I see. Right? I don't know, we'll see. Okay. And we'll give him commanding voice because that's like necessary for officers. So we remember get back in the fight is the officer ability that gives somebody a turn where they can't attack. They can't like use their main attacks, but they get a bunch of movement. So it's good for getting somebody to move out of a dangerous area or toward an objective. Bring it down. Give somebody a turn where they get 2 action points but no movement points. So this is for like just letting somebody make an extra attack, basically. So we've got we picked up Voice of Command. The target ally gains 2 morale. For 1 round, all their characteristics are increased by 15. That's within the officer's influence. But influence is still just range 2. I haven't seen an ability that increases the range of influence yet. So the stuff within the officer's influence is not very good yet. It probably gets good if you can get bigger influence. Also, get back in the fight removes status effects. Not damage over time effects, but other status effects. And the morale goes back to 0 if it was negative. So it's quite good, even though you can't attack. So this was confusing me. During this turn, the ally cannot expend combat points. And I thought, so I get that, right? Like they can't attack. They do not expend combat points during this turn. Like, I don't know, it's kind of odd language. Okay, I like this one. The officer removes all status effects from target ally and restores their morale to 0 if it's negative. The ally immediately gains an extra turn with 2 AP and 9 MP. The ability ignores zones of control, does not suffer damage or trigger attacks of opportunity, and can move through enemies and does not expend combat points during this turn. This is similar to the, like the dash that Larthier was able to give people, but it works a little differently. Whenever this character applies an effect to an ally, they gain 2 morale. Yeah, let's just stack up the morale. Morale's a really cool mechanic. He's dangerous when he's on his last legs, someone says. Yeah. So the reason, we left him in a situation in the prologue apparently where he didn't have a leg to stand on, and so he's a little way off topic at this point, but finally dug up power weapon description from a 30k rulebook. Sheathed in disruption fields that allow them to cleave armor as though it were paper. Yeah, so 30k is old, right? So, yeah, we forgot to spell it armor. The 30k rulebooks were old, right? They were like 10 or 15 years old at this point. I know 30k is the, like, when the, like, the Horus Heresy era stuff. And I know that there's a war game that was at a smaller scale and used larger armies. Was that also 30k? Oh, 30k is current. Okay, so I guess if that's a current book, then maybe they have settled on power weapons being something, or they were always that and I just didn't know. They released a new rule set like last year. Okay, so power weapons have like some kind of a disruption field coming out of them. Doesn't explain what that is and doesn't need to. It's basically a sword that cuts through things that a sword wouldn't normally cut through, or an axe. And then the chain weapons, they have ceramite teeth. Ceramite is the stuff that Space Marine power armor is made out of. It's like a really powerful ceramic that's stronger than metal. I guess the reason you would want that is to like chew through armor like mechanically that can't normally be gotten through. And then force weapons are they're like psychically active, so you can, like, if you're a psyker, you can use those really well. So the force weapon is the magic weapon. The power weapon is like it's like a space magic weapon. It's like a science magic weapon. Okay, so battlefield guidance. The officer increases target allies' damage by 10% for 1 round. That's pretty good. Target deals an additional 8%, 10%. Increases target allies' damage. Target deals 8% additional damage. Like those are. Why is that worded differently? Am I supposed to glean something from the wording there, Or am I supposed to take it at face value? Because I like rule books for RPGs have taught me to understand that if something is worded differently in two places, that means it means something different. Okay, here it is too. The target's hit chance is increased by 10% for 1 round. The officer grants target ally 10 plus 10% hit chance for 1 round. What does that mean? Why is it different? I understand why you would make 2 abilities for it, because you can only put it on one, like you can only put it on one of your powers at a time, but kind of like 10% damage. That's just good. Localization moment? Maybe. The fact that it's like consistently wrong, and also like the rest of the text is good. I haven't seen any like errors or weird English. Let's see. Toma and all of his allies gain a +5 bonus to any non-combat skill he's advanced at least once. Let's take that, because we're in a place where we're needing to use a lot of social skills and stuff. Also, by the way, if you don't know what the Skull of Progenium is, it's like the academy system that the Imperium uses to train some of its officers, specifically commissars, who are, I think they're NCOs. I don't remember how they work, but the Skull of Progenium specifically only takes war orphans, and it's not the only place war orphans can go. You can also make them into corpse starch or servitors, or do all kinds of things with them. But it is like, I can't remember if the Emperor founded the first Skull of Progenium, but it is like a big part of Imperial culture to have this kind of thing. Alright, so we're just gonna give him a couple of upgrades as he levels up in like social skills and stuff that we need right now because of that bonus. Alright, and he can put Battlefield Guidance on Bring It Down, and Indomitable Will on Voice of Command. Okay, and we'll switch these so that we know to use this one first. Oh no, never mind, it doesn't matter. Oh, I see. Okay, so Let the Shadow Rise normally is a heroic move, and then that one feat that we saw about it was to also let it be a thing you can use when you're broken. So you +10 or -10 morale. Okay. And what's our boy using? I think they put the armor or the Fusilier model on him just because they didn't have his like full model ready yet. Although that does look like his face at least, so we get that. So he's got a long last, an auto pistol, and an axe. It's an odd combination of weapons. Do we have a better pistol at least? We had a bolt pistol, didn't we? Yeah. Yeah, let's do that. And then this is a 10 to 11 damage axe. Is there a better... Unyielding will. So this might actually be good for him, because when the wielder is heroic or broken, the sword has a 6% hit chance and deals an additional 6% damage. May as well, I don't have anyone else to give that to. And then for long last, do we have a better like, sniper rifle for him? 9 to 12, 12 to 16. So this is at least just like a straight upgrade for him. I wish we could like sort weapons in ways that made more sense to me. And then the sniper rifle is better. Okay, I see. I think lasguns do extra armor and vitals damage. Yeah. Arm amputation long las, yeah. We'll leave him with the long las. He's still serving a little bit in there. Look at that face. I mean, I know that's just what he looks like, but like he's got resting bastard face, which is pretty fun. So he's an officer. We may as well give him these. These are if the wearer is not attacked this turn, they gain 5 damage reduction until the start of the next turn. As an officer, it will frequently happen that he doesn't make an attack in a turn. So whenever a wearer targets an ally with an ability within their influence, the wearer gains 3 MP. Yeah, that might work. Okay. Good enough. Serving underneath 5 layers of metal. Well, you know, there's Xenos about. Can't be too careful. But not in a Dark Souls way. Yeah, we're not... It's not exactly Fashion Souls here. Today they let abhumans in. What shall we expect next? Xenos? Heretics? Peasants? There are Xenos here. There was like a Kroot until like 2 minutes ago. There's Pontifex Cartius. Do I know you? No. He probably doesn't sound like that. Commissars technically have no authority over the Imperial forces in terms of being leaders. However, they can step in and lead when necessary, and they're legendary like Yarrick or Kane. Yeah, well, I mean, their job is they're political officers. Their job is to keep the soldiers in line and dish out punishments, whether it be from Chaos, Xenos, or Heresy. They can dish out rewards as well. Yeah, I was just watching a thing about political officers in the PLA. There's a God, what is the channel called? There's a channel called Type 56, The Story of China's Army. And it's a guy who talks about not just Chinese weapons, but also about like the PLA structure, strategy, ideology, and the way that successfully or unsuccessfully went into practice, and like how they beat the Kuomintang, and like how they were managed to, you know, help the CCP like build and hold power in China, and like what that looked like. The guy is American, I think. He's got an American accent, but he speaks seemingly fluent Chinese. He's really cool. He's it's clear he's like clear-eyed about the flaws in the Chinese systems, but also that he has a, you know, a respect for the culture and all that. So you're getting like a good oh, he has a son in the PLA, really? Oh, that's cool. If you want to know where the idea for commissars came from, look up Stalingrad commissars in the Order of No Retreat. Yes. So during or either during or just before the siege of Stalingrad, Stalin put out like the Russian army had been basically in retreat since the invasion, in World War II, and so Stalin realized that if they got to Moscow, it was over. And so he gave his soldiers the order of no retreat, which was like, I think it was like the not one step back or something like that rule. And it ordered that there were to be no further retreats. Every soldier was expected to fight to the last where he was. That wasn't necessarily universally carried out, nor was it, nor were there no exceptions or anything. It was a very real thing, but nowhere near as brain dead as it is in stuff like Enemy at the Gates the vast majority of the time. So if you know anything about Russian history, you know that no army is going to have a good time invading Russia in the winter. And I think it was summer when that order came out, because the German army like rolled in and was just steamrolling. They were just powering through the entire country, not unopposed, but just they had so much momentum. And yeah, Stalin knew that if they got to Moscow, it was over. But if the army could slow the invaders down long enough, either the like the logistical issues that the Germans were having would catch up to them, or the climate would do it. And so he gave that order knowing that it was not going to save. Like, he gave that order knowing it was going to kill a lot of soldiers, but knowing that ultimately that sacrifice would have to be necessary to win or even survive the war. So yeah, it's often presented as like, oh, Russians are inhuman, or like Stalin was an idiot. He was, I don't think he was an idiot. He was a bad man, but he was not an idiot. But that order is part of what gave the soldiers in Stalingrad like the ability to really dig in and stall the Germans long enough for those logistic issues to catch up to them. And the Germans did indeed rapidly start losing the war in the East at that point. If the wolves don't get you, the Cossacks will. All right, so... Oh, but in this YouTube video, this Chinese one that I was talking about, I recently saw a video where he was talking about how China's political officers worked, you know, commissars. And he said if the unit's like commander was like its dad, then the political officer was like its mom. And they were the person who was like in charge of not just making sure that soldiers were following like army doctrine and like communist doctrine, but also making sure that like everybody had enough to eat as far as could be managed, and making sure that like any interpersonal complaints within the unit were like passing through the proper channels, were there to kind of you know, there's friction between like the command and the soldiers. And so this guy came in from the side and was like, I can diffuse. He's kind of like HR for the army. But and he's not just HR though. There are the guy opens with saying there are a lot of stories about this these political commissars exhibiting great heroism in battle, and their soldiers being really often eager and willing to follow orders to charge from these guys, because unlike your commanding officer, this guy was kind of your friend, right? Like he's your he's not really your friend, he's your boss, but you know, he's in charge. And so the 40k commissars are much less sympathetic, but you have to understand that like if you're doing a more like a grittier, more grounded take on the setting, which, you know, every piece of media in 40k is different. There's not like a single consistent canon, right? There's a literal canon, like the Emperor did this and this and this, and then the, you know, Cadia exploded in this year, and that this is the Hive fleet over here. But the depictions of the Empire and any of the factions are going to vary so much when different people kind of work on them, and that's kind of the fun of 40k a little bit. Like, I really like this, the way it's depicted here in this game. If this is too earthy and realistic for you, and you prefer the high flying, like just space marine with a fucking rocket pack, you know, ripping through thousands of Tyranids with his chain sword, that's out there. There's no problem. Like you get your pick. The kind of through line is that it's always pretty bleak, but I would think that there are probably commissars that are not just completely hated and are not just completely hateful. He's not your friend, but he's the guy who bled with you. There should always be tension between soldiers and officers. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And
always on the move.
Somebody mentioned Yarrick. Yarrick is a very funny character. He, you know, he's like a boots on the ground kind of soldier for a long time, and he just gets so torn up over the years that he gets all of these, you know, all of these cybernetics. He's pretty old. He's like old even kind of by Imperial standards, and at one point he gets captured by orcs, and like his arm comes off, so they really respect what a fighter he is, so they stick a power claw, like an orc arm, on him. It looks like something that you would use to, like, on the end of a tractor, and they kind of patch him up and eventually get him back to the Empire so that he can come and fight with them some more later. Orcs are fun that way. That's not what happened? Well, how did he get the power? I thought he got, like, shot down, right? Oh, he took the power claw from the orc that took his arm off. I thought they put it on him. I know they kind of let him go back. Oh yeah, Kane is led by his soldiers. The guy's still gonna order you to march into impossible circumstances, or he'll shoot you in the head. But you know, you might do it with a smile. He did get captured, but that was later. Okay, I thought they put the claw on him. I was wrong about Yarrick. He returned, and just in time. The Lord Calixtus produces a chrono from his pocket. The trinket must have cost twice as much as entire hive level. Canoness Marcella, who heads the Order of the Sacred Roses detachment, currently acting as part of the Spire Guard, took on the heavy burden of reviewing the security at the Lucid Palace. She should already have completed the rounds with her sisters by now. We kindly request this favor of you. Find out where she is and what is delaying her. It is time to move on to the final liturgy in the chapel. Yeah. Where should I look for her? The esteemed warrior was being accompanied by our chamberlain. He knows where she is now. Perhaps he has not been in contact. However, he has not been in contact for some time. Perhaps you can use your acolyte skills to find him using the signal from this device. Hax pulls a golden comm bead from his ear and hands it to you. Why don't you send a servant? Yeah. Let's do that. The entire reception is running behind schedule. Find the canoness and confirm that we can begin the liturgy. Recently watched 3+ hours of former U.S. Marines memoirs. Contrast with current discussion, but the gist is that a lot of it is pointless cruelty. Oh yeah, that was the one about you're talking about like boot camp, right? Yeah, for sure. I'm not trying to like whitewash the Imperium. Of course, the you know, on the whole, it's very bad. But you know, the stories aren't all just misery. Or if they are, they can have cool moments of more interesting character development than commissars shooting their own soldiers. I was worried that we were gonna find the guy's comm bead over here at the card game, like you bet it and lost. Cartesiarchus Hecatus Prime. The signal does not match. The Chamberlain's comm bead must be in a different location. Alright.
Moving.
The levels of the palace go deep underground so they become invisible to the eye. I think these searches like this get a little tiresome. Okay, I think we've already done enough of these. A good reason to do them would be to get the player to understand. Like the first one was cool, where we were in that really kind of maze-like hive area, and we had to use the like the search kind of taught us how to search around. We got another dinner. Oh, okay, hold on. We can't take this dinner because these guys are looking. I wonder if we'll be able to get it later. I think the thing with the Marine Corps kind of speaks to like the Imperium is trying to describe a bad solution to a similar problem, which is wait, we got another dinner. Yoink. Okay, I think we're good. Right? Did we get three succulent Imperial meals? I don't know how to identify them. Newest to oldest. Ah, yes. Okay, there we go. Absolutely, the default is do as I say or take a round to the head. But the Skull of Progenium is not turning out like primarily dumb assholes, right? Like it's the commissars are a little bit flanderized. Is what I'm getting at. Like a lot of stuff in the Imperium, right? Or like in the game. Where's my crime, Inquisitor? Enjoying a meal? A succulent Catechan meal? Your dinner. It would be funny if you had Cog with you, if every time you picked one up, he just immediately ate it. Like you couldn't complete the quest unless you got rid of him. Hey fellas, do you know how to get in over here? Uh-oh. We were already in here. Oh, okay, wait, the people are... I was like, we didn't kill him, did we? That'd be bad.
No sense in delay.
Kane even says in one of his books, the commissars like that don't last long. Yeah, you get fragged by your own guys. I don't understand. So 93 and 95 right here. Oh, it's on this side. Okay, here we go. The signal does not match. Ugh. This place is pretty well lit, all things considered. Maybe it would like add one one like max wound to Cog every time he
Reconnoitering.
like 1 max HP every time Cog ate one of these good dinners. So you'd have some incentive to do it, but it would be like the most minor and stupid incentive possible. Something's gone terribly wrong in here. They're still not gonna let me open the door, I bet. Fellas, can I open this door? It's a shame that Commissar Scumfuck had a grenade roll into the crater he'd taken cover in, but it happens in war. It seems the enemy circled around the Commissar and shot him in the back of the head with a las pistol. We're fighting Tyranids! Get somewhere now. Up here, maybe? Yes. Okay. Fellas? No. None of them. I guess in here. Oh, we can give the dinner to this guy now.
Never.
His name is Von Glutton. I get it. Like he's a glutton. Here, take this, eat. No one deserves to starve like this. 3 full feast meals. But sir, you shouldn't have... Thank you, of course. Good grief. Where are my manners? Here, I stashed a couple of rebreathers on the Lord General's orders. Just don't tell anyone I gave them to you. A set of rebreathers. The filters are completely worn out. After the next use, these rebreathers will be worthless. Okay. I think we're probably going to need to use those in that poison room that we just saw. Maybe the this endless search was to prompt us to look for the meals or ensure that we found them. And I guess this one sitting out here is to kind of teach you what they look like. I like stuff like that where you hide tutorialization in gameplay. Hey, locomotion. Where are we going? Oh yeah, Oleantha is the lady in the thumbnail. She seems to be a inquisitor of noble origin. Has he been servitorized? Check all the servitors. We're not even close enough to have the tracker up. No good. Pipes and valves are intertwined with one another in such a way that it is impossible to trace their structure. I can picture the Inquisitor clerk who has to sift through hundreds of reports of some commissar getting shot 26 times in the chest. Yeah, he ate a poison ration. And then he got shot 15 times, and then he got run over by a troop transport, and then he exploded. It's a tragic accident. In the back, you mean? Yes. I was wondering why you specified in the chest. That's a normal place to get shot in a war. Has anybody seen Chamberlain? Maybe the usher knows. Let's just have this guy start taking us places, and we will... In one of these places, we will surely see the, unusual Amasec, War Heresy. We're gonna look at that. Judging by the flakes in the Amasec, a rare stimulant has been added to the drink, allowing one to stay awake for several planetary turns. We know about that. Let's go get some. The usher sent us to a place where there are no ushers. My plan was not very good. I was also watching through the last stream, and the Lehman Russ isn't a particularly scary tank. It's basically the most basic guard tank, but it's still scary because, you know, it's a tank. It's scary in tabletop, isn't it? It was in, it had kind of a reputation in, 6th edition? 7th? It's also very big, like, amusingly big. Or it was at the time. God Emperor's statue. Not here either. Okay, we need another usher. It's good points value, but it's no Baneblade. Is it the best tank that the guard can field? Is that what I'm remembering? And also, I believe, I forget what they're called, like the blueprints for making it basically no longer exist. So it's less of a scary tank, I guess, and more of like a remarkably durable one that is precious because they can't be made anymore. I meant to ask, back when you were in the weird crystal warp realm, could you access your whole inventory? I wonder if you could have taken Gergesum to snap out of it. So Gergesum isn't usable. That would have been cool, though. We don't need to do any shopping. Just keep going down the list. To the chapel. Oh, that's where we were. To the Agra Conservatory? Okay, we are just not getting... We're just gonna go back to the governor, like, we can't find him. Yeah, we looked all over, he's just gone. What's inside? The auditorium, sir. Was damaged during an intercept operation involving the Palace Guard, the details of which we are not privy. Okay. I'm not a Warhammer nerd like John, pinky swear. They make them like crazy on most Forge worlds. They're basically the Imperious Sherman, or the Empires. Am I confusing them with another tank then? The Baneblade or something? Dark Tide, you can see them. You mean Rogue Trader? You can see them being made on some of the missions, or the Baneblade is the super heavy tank, so probably, maybe. My God. These guys again. I guess we gotta just start talking to. Like, if this last place doesn't have a tracking... Yeah, I guess we gotta just start talking to people. Can't think of what else, Maybe Aspis knows something? We can't talk to her
Keeping my
about the
eyes
general.
open.
No. Cogitator? No. Shit, I think we might just need to go back and report our failure to the governor. There's like not really anybody else to talk to. Pontifex.
Reconnoitering.
STC. That's the blueprint thing. STC are the basic shit in Warhammer. Do them boys cannot do shit without the Matrix. They can do shit itself, so. Yeah, because things are not like handcrafted.
Keeping my
They're
eyes open.
built by machines. Where are we? Astropath. Astropath Shao. The choir master of Scintilla's astropathic choir raises his head as you approach. Shao bears little resemblance to the stereotypical astropath. His tall, broad-shouldered frame lacks the sickliness and frailty so often found in such sorcerers. Nevertheless, the heavy burden of the Psyker's curse has still left its mark on this enormous man. Tight knots of swollen purplish-blue veins pulse beneath his pale skin. His vacant eye sockets are covered with an embroidered band. So astropaths are, they're telepaths, and they are basically, they're responsible for faster than light communication, because radio, only goes light speed, and the Imperium's really big. Astropathic messages are sent by telepaths, and I think the choir is like, if you're unlucky enough to get stuck in it, you're basically used as like a like a radio relay, and it isn't great. It's not good for you. You tend to not have a super long life. Kind of get burned out. Acolyte Vermina, grant me a moment of your time. Shao turns in your direction as if examining you. Intriguing. Anton Zerb was correct. You do bear the gleam. What gleam? It is the name for a particular kind of warp trace, invisible to the mundane eye, yet perceptible to any psyker in its proximity. To me, your gleam shines as brightly as the thing I believe left it. The Lord Inquisitor spoke to you about me? It is true, Vermina. His message reached my sanctum several weeks ago. He asked me to take a look at the acolyte who had arrived to safeguard the Invocatum Sanctus. Okay. I dislike speaking in half-truths. Forgive the aura of mystery and intrigue. Anton Zerb is one who prefers to move without fanfare, and to keep those who interest him uninformed. The Bastion Serpentis and I are bound by ancient vows. I am an ally of the Tyrantine Cabal, and in these dark times I wish to be an ally to you as well, Acolyte Vermina. So Zerb told you what happened to me? In broad terms, the core of his message was that you had been touched by the Tyrant Star, or rather by the rays of its visible manifestation, the spectral sun. You mentioned others who were marked by the gleam. The manifestation of the spectral sun does not always lead to instant death. Sometimes, worlds that are visited by the Tyrant Star survive. Those who endure the wave of madness, riots, mutations, and psychic awakenings that follow its passing live long enough to tell the agents of the Golden Throne what they saw, or thought they saw. One moment. Did that... Okay, there we go. What do you know of the Tyrant Star? Less than your masters. Ask them. It is enough for me to know that the spectral sun has appeared more frequently in the Calixtus sector ever since the coming of the Noctis Eterna, the strange gloom that dimmed his light. The warp across the entire sector has become mortally perilous for astropaths, and the flares of agony caused by the Tyrant Star's manifestation instill monstrous terror and awe in my subordinates. So, the Noctis Eterna, or Eternal Night, has been making it hard to navigate around this sector. Hi, Randall. I think you forgot to post the stream on... I usually do. It only gets a couple of... Usually only gets like a couple of likes, so I assumed people weren't really using that way to find the stream. Maybe I'll do it next time. However, the devastation of Scintilla's astropathic choir is but one of many calamities the warp has visited upon us in recent months. And thank you, Randall. Shao turns away. The choir is incapable of sending a single message. Travel between the stars has ceased. Other worlds of Calixtus are silent. Okay, so you're just... We're just no longer a spacefaring civilization in these parts. I didn't realize it was that bad. At times, it seems to me that those who manage to reach the sector's capital world are all who have survived the darkness of the Noctis Eterna. Yeah. Several months ago, I was on assignment in the Iocanthus system. There, I witnessed the rise of the Tyrant Star and was bathed in its light. I understand. I know of Iocanthus's fate. The echo of its agony reached even Scintilla, so it was there that you received the gleam. The Psyker turns his head away again, or his head again slightly as if appraising you anew. This phenomenon, this trace, has been observed on those who survived the rising of the spectral sun. In some cases it faded. In others it remained until the victim's soul was consumed by the madness induced by the Tyrant Star. Or until an untimely death released them. I'm certain you are aware of the torments suffered by those exposed to the spectral sun, but do you know that those who did not perish immediately later spoke of strange visions? Of messages sent to them by the cursed star? You feel the hairs on your neck stand on end. Even though Shao has no eyes, the focused attention of the Psyker is as piercing as any direct gaze. Yeah, I saw something, but I'm not sure what it was. Such an ordeal is certainly taxing on the soul, but the mere fact that you bear the gleam confirms that you rank among the witnesses of the Tyrant Star. To be marked by the gleam is a heavy burden. The fact that you have not yet fallen victim to madness, mutation, or a fate worse still attests that the God Emperor's providence watches over you. Perhaps in the eternal struggle of the Tyrantine Cabal against the encroaching spectral sun, a special role is reserved for you. I must return to my duties. Of course, I have detained you long enough. Should the gleam manifest and the Tyrantine Cabal require aid to decipher the visions, please inform me. I have long kept my mind closed to the warp, for now it is a mortal peril. But if the fate of Scintilla hangs in the balance, then the life of one Psyker is a negligible price to pay. He lowers his head in a modest bow. Thank you for our conversation. Now go, Agent of the Golden Throne. Bring me some Amisec, and be quick about it. No. Okay. So, where is this Chamberlain? Keep collecting dinners.
Reconnoitering.
See, Ogren's will eat anything if you call it food. Should we try the wine glasses? There's the spires. This is, from here it looks like the main city in Heaven's Word in Final Fantasy XIV that I'm forgetting the name of. Give me a festive dish. Quartermaster cannot tell us anything. Chamberlain Severin's comm bead. Severin. Book of the New Sun reference. I think there's another one that will come with later. Or at least one associated with a faction that I know is in the game. Okay, the comm bead bears a distinctive signal. Let's check this out. It is not here. Ah, here it is. Okay, I guess we'll pull this. Aspis Corda knew that an enemy dynasty was planning an assassination attempt. Not really relevant right now. Requisitorium. Maybe she's this way. Lost Bastille. Yeah. That's from Dark Souls. That's not from Final Fantasy XIV. Exposed wires spark at the cut ends. Someone has roughly sliced through them with a knife. This is beyond your ability to repair. Not so state-of-the-art then, is it? Okay, so we can't go through here because there's break the power node? There we go. If you can't fix something, just break it more. Dark Souls 2 is not the best one, it is the worst one. A man in servant's livery is on his knees. His hands are bound behind his back, his wrists secured by a tight knot. Catching sight of you, he begins to whimper frantically, pleading for you to untie him. Let's examine him. Judging by the color of his garments and augmented vox system, this is one of Lord Calixus Marius Hax's personal servants. Thank you, mistress. The man brushes the dust from his clothes, painstakingly smooths out the creases with his palms, and only then draws himself up to his full height. His entire demeanor is of someone making a great effort to retain one last shred of dignity while concealing his fear. What happened to you? I cannot say, mistress. After the honorable canoness Marcella dismissed me, I made my way up to tidy the personal chambers of his lordship, Lord Calixus Hax. I heard a noise, and I believe I lost consciousness. The disgrace of it. Not once in 30 years of service. And now this. He's never fainted in 30 years of service. Is anything missing? The Chamberlain briskly pats himself down, checking his pockets. He meticulously counts the keys on his ring and carefully smooths out a picked retreat from somewhere within his garments. After a moment, he looks up at you, his expression fearful. No, madam, everything's accounted for. The servant is not lying to you directly, but judging by the sheen of sweat on his forehead, he is clearly withholding something. Thomas' gaze drifts down to the Chamberlain's hands before rising up to meet his eyes. Nothing is missing, yet you continue to go through those keys over and over. Are you sure the Golden Throne's agents shouldn't know the reason? The man pales so dramatically you're able to make out the cabling of his vox augmentation beneath his skin. My apologies, I dared to think it beneath your notice. The keys, they're out of order. All are present, but the sequence is wrong, as if someone had shuffled them. What are you hiding? Okay, no. Same thing. Lord Calixtus asked me to find the Canoness. Do you know where she is? I was escorting the Honorable Canoness on her inspection of the palace. We parted ways at the lift of the spire where the palace chapel is located. That is the last thing I remember. I came to my senses here, bound and gagged.
Mind your surrounding.
Back here, more goods. Got Windrazor, a Kroot Yucca headband. Oh, and a scrawled note. Let's get that. This piece of parchment bears words in crude handwriting. By the saints' armpits, it worked. I'm inside. They're all so tidy and pretty around here. Especially that Counselor Appa. May the damned sea swallow him whole. I lugged trunks up to his Grox blasted spire for 3 full turns. Felt my knee crunch and now it won't stop throbbing. Still, I had what I came for. He won't miss one tiny bundle. Don't you worry. That scrawny little fusilier who fixed me up with these clothes won't be running his mouth. The spires are so tall, he's probably still on his way down. If he drops in your head, tell him I said hello. You just keep breathing and try not to die. The Emperor protects and all that. They never shut up about it here. We'll cross paths again soon. What is Adam Wentworth talking about with the main character being obnoxious?
Reconnoitering.
Because if that's Severian from Book of the New Sun that you're talking about, he's supposed to be. He's not, the point of the story is that he's a bit of an idiot. Okay, nothing else in here. Leveled up. All right, we got break their ranks. The officer increases the damage dealt by an ally during their next turn by 5% and twice as value against armor for each enemy within that ally's influence. So this would be something you would use on like a melee character usually. Not super worried. Take aim might be useful though. Adam Wentworth says, yeah, just how every lady immediately throws himself at them to their detriment got old quick. Yeah, you're meant to wonder why that's happening. It's there's more to it than just he's. Why is this guy who is writing this memoir in the first person explaining how he became the autarch? Why is he presenting himself in this manner? And what does it mean? And like, what is the book trying to say about the not just the nature of gender relations within his society or his views on gender, but about the broader belief system that this character holds, which is not the author's belief system, you know, like there's that in that line where he says, it is with hunters as to their prey, as butchers to their animals, like, as craftsmen to wood, or whatever he says. And so it is with men to women, all love that which they destroy. That's not a good belief to have, Severian, and the fact that he has that is not an endorsement of that. We are seeing not just a story, but the author is using the main character who begins as the torturer's apprentice, which is not a good thing to be. Like, it's not good to be a torturer. That's a bad guy job. He's starting with the worst, like the worst start possible. And all of his opinions come from that. And, you know, he's going out into the world for the first time in this book and coming up against other ways of thinking about things. Let's see. 5+ characters morale, so up to 15%. Attacks deal extra veil degradation. Any creature hit with a melee attack must pass a reflexes test or stuff for a with a -8 penalty, or suffer a stackable 12 penalty to tenacity. That's like too many. Yeah, that's like too many. Too many ifs. The warrior's melee attacks deal +12 damage. However, targets of the warrior's attacks will perform a counterattack. This is a really important ability that doesn't sound very good. It gets really good. It's just a free attack that gives the enemy a counterattack. But once you start getting abilities that make things happen when you take damage, that becomes a really good ability. Unit's damage is increased by 12%. Yeah. Yeah, 12% more damage. Take Reckless Strike here too. Or Hypatia. And Hypatia is all about inflicting these like damage over time things. Let's see. Target ally gains +9% damage with their second attack per turn. We can put that on Endure. We'll just take Physical Aptitude. I guess exploit surroundings while the soldier is in cover. Okay, so there's a ability here that you can use that makes your cover like 100% for one turn, I guess. Reduces the cost of the ability by 1 AP. If the cost is 0, the character regains an AP. So we don't care about hit chance because we use flamers on her. I guess extra damage, but no, because... Oh yeah, that's just a flat bonus. Okay, yeah, I'll take that. It's a flat bonus modified by ballistic skill, which is good. Damage, and what do we got on our girl here? Oh, I checked. I was like, oh, is she like how young is she? Because they called her a youth. Discordance is 20, so I think they were saying she's young in the context of like the Warhammer universe, where you'll see people who are like 200 years old. If I remember right from the Dark Heresy rulebook, it offhandedly mentioned that standard medical technology can just about double a human's lifespan if they're, you know, wealthy enough to, or important enough to afford it. But obviously, extensive augmentation can go much farther, and so can psychic powers. I think in Rogue Trader, one of the characters is a psyker. He's the interrogator. His name is escaping me. But he mentions at one point that his life has been significantly extended by his biokinesis, and he's much older than he appears. Put mark of the victim. Let's see. So giving her some like basic survivability stuff might help here. Pain points looks good though. Analysis on the go also looks good. When the operative ends their movement with close encounter, a random enemy suffers the exploit effect. Exploit is really good. Heinrichs. Yeah. Okay, so we'll put analysis on the go on there, and okay, that's that for her. Damage there. What do you have in area attack already? 15% penalty. Yeah, let's just put that on area attack. Put a muscle relaxant on burst attack, I guess. I will put Unstoppable Onslaught on Overwhelming Bulletstorm. It'll be much better there. Muscle Relaxant will go on area attack. There we go. Physical Aptitude can go on Reckless Strike. Battlefield Guidance will go on Take Aim. Hive Worlds stick together and bring it down, may as well. Actually, put Battlefield Guidance on Bring It Down. Stick together on Take Aim. No, put Gang Tactics on On telekinesis, can we do that? There we go. Alright. No more boring menus. Why are we slow? Are we slow because it's dark? Also, Adam Wentworth, you may want to revisit whether women are throwing themselves at Severian, even in the text. It kind of seems like it. But depending on how far you are, you may realize that that's not what, that is not at all what was happening with, Agia, and Severian was just, like, badly misreading the situation. Certainly, Dorcas is very fond of him, but I think she has good enough reason to be. And, Yolenta doesn't like him at all. Okay, go back to the governor. Crunch, 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 eating chip. Oh. Sorry, I thought you wanted me to find your person. We gotta go find the canoness. Excuse me. So she is at the chapel, which is over here, I think. Are you talking about the Book of the New Sun series? Yes, yes. We found a character named Severin. And I was like, oh yeah, probably a Book of the New Sun reference, and 40K is filled with them. And then somebody brought up the, people often say with that book, like, oh, it's so sexist, like, and like, it's a book about a guy from a sexist society. Okay, that's the auditorium. Usher will take us to the chapel. The thief lady gave him the claw and then was mad that it got her brother killed. It just feels like the plot is stumbling forward on coincidence. Oh, that's certainly an observation. It does seem like that, doesn't it? Very interesting that it would seem that way. The thief lady is Agia. She was the worker at the dress shop. And the claw didn't get her brother killed. That's not what happened. Acolyte. Shadows cast by the candlelight perform their mystifying dance on Inquisitor Rathbone's powdered features. I have been told by members of the Adeptus Sororitas that the Canoness and her sisters have departed for the chapel. Considering Marcella's rather foul mood today, I doubt that you will make much progress on your own without having to present your sigil and assert your status. I shall lend you my support. Then let us make our way to the chapel. After you, Inquisitor. She smiles indulgently. Come. It is a really wonderful book series. I It's one of those ones where you get to the end, and as soon as you reach the end, you're like, holy shit, oh my god. And you, like, I immediately wanted to reread the entire thing, because it's just one of those things where the context changes so much once you've gotten there. And there's a common thing that people say, which is you can't read a Gene Wolfe book, you can only reread a Gene Wolfe book. It saved Severian, which led to that happening. Yeah, it sure did. It does seem to... It is said to have miraculous powers. It is a holy artifact that... But, like, she's attributing... Oh, yeah, you're talking about when like, literally say them, yeah. But, like, she's attributing that sequence of events to... She's, like, engaging in a teleological fallacy with that sequence of events. Like, she's just a stupid person who tried to do a bad thing, and when it flopped, she blamed the person she was trying to get one over on. The Canoness and her sisters have left us, I see. A tragic development on the day of the holy celebration. We must prepare the court and the guests for these grievous tidings. What are your thoughts, Vermina? Was the Canoness's death the very assassination attempt we anticipated? I feel like heretics wouldn't have just done this and left. Yeah, they would have turned the sister's death into a true manifestation of twisted beliefs. All traces of melancholy vanish instantly from Lady Oleantha's demeanor, and her dark eyes turn to stare at you. Whatever it may be, the Canoness's death is our first lead of any real substance. Use it to make progress on our mission. My advice to you, Acolyte, before reporting officially, discuss your findings with me. Once you discover the truth behind the Canoness's death, and I have no doubt you will, we must consider exactly what verdict to present to the nobility. The truth is undoubtedly important, but to us alone, we have ample time to weigh up whose accusation would be the most beneficial to the Tyrantine Cabal's mission. Yeah. This greatly complicates things for us. On the contrary, the principal players of Scintilla will see the Canoness's death as a pretext to settle scores. They will not hesitate to accuse one another, exposing one another's worst secrets in the process. All that will remain afterward is for you to gather them together and draw the right conclusion. As for me, the nobility are wary of my reach and status as an Inquisitor. Moreover, I am no longer a stranger at the Lucid Palace, and have not been for some time. My judgment in this case could be seen as tainted by bias. Mine, but not yours. You are a new piece on the board, thus, for today you will serve as the voice of the Holy Ordos and the Spires. I will ensure that no rumors circulate through the palace before this tragedy is officially announced. I will also see to it that the guests are occupied, that no outsiders near the governor when you are ready to report your findings here. I advise you to make haste, Acolyte. This chapel is now a crime scene. Search the area. Find something, anything that can shed light on these sisters' deaths. We need more than just corpses and a promise of retribution when we make the announcement. The court will understand that the Inquisition is already on the killer's trail. I will await news by the governor's side. May the God Emperor guide you, Vermina. Broken bottle. The intact neck of the bottle is sealed with wax bearing the imprint of an aquila. Traces of ruby red amasec on the shattered glass exude a tart aroma. At first glance, it may seem as if Canoness Marcella had simply become lost in prayer. Even in death, her face retains a stern and cold expression. Neither fear nor pain have distorted the features of his faithful servant. Her sword is clenched in her hand. It alone keeps it from falling, allowing her to preserve her dignity. Check for external damage. Greenish spots are visible on the deceased woman's face, and places where her clothes do not completely cover her body. For some reason, the marks only appear on exposed areas of skin. You also notice that the Canoness's lips are painfully ulcerated. Open the jaws of the deceased and examine the oral cavity. The light from the microlumen shines on the oral cavity. It is covered in repulsive wounds, as if from burns. She was gassed. Gas. Gas. Examine the armor. The snow-white armor is in perfect condition. There are no bloodstains or other such marks on its surface, and the various nicks and dents adorning it only testify to battles long past. One of my friends takes a lot of inspiration from Wolf's stories for his D&D games, and it's cool to be reading the books now and seeing where it all came from. Yeah, like, Book of the New Sun, like, it's like a life-changing read once you get through all of it. And you should approach it on your first read as a standard, like, fantasy novel. And just, take it for what it is. But understand that the fact that things are constantly happening that are a little bit outside of your understanding means you should also be suspicious of the basic things that are happening, the ordinary events that Severian seems to understand perfectly. I like how he frequently is confused by normal things and then confidently wrong about very complicated things. Or he's wrong in a way that makes sense literarily, but not literally. He's frequently doing a thing where he will confuse a person for another person, despite the fact that the people look nothing alike, but they're like alike in spirit in some way. Like they have some personality feature in common that he's just like sorting them into the same. I don't know if you've ever had this where like you'll meet someone and maybe you'll be friends or you'll just work with them or something, and then you lose touch with them. And eventually you'll meet another person, and after a little while you'll be like, oh, this is like the new version of that person that I don't know anymore. Like you get to your new job, and it's like, oh, this is the Derek of this job. Inspect the canoness's hands. You discover a single unusual detail. The woman's nails have turned blue, almost to the tips. Search her vestments. In addition to a string of prayer beads, an old pocket prayer book, and a flask of sacred unguent used for weapon maintenance, you find a carefully... Is this unguent? I thought it was unguent, but I think I might be wrong. You find a carefully crafted compass. This item is clearly expensive and does not resemble the usual equipment of the Sisters of Battle. There were two dudes in high school where I mixed them up because they looked vaguely similar and had the same kind of vibe. Yeah, it's like he confuses people whose vibe is similar, even if they don't look anything alike. And he does it a couple of times that are really funny. And the thing I always think of is Severian is not a self-insert character for Wolf, although he thinks like an engineer. A lot of people say like he's autistic or autistic coded. I think Wolf was just drawing from people he worked with as an engineer, and we know that autism is heavily overrepresented in engineering. But also, I think he was also drawing from himself as a writer to build out how Severian not just understands the world, but like how he got to the point he is at in his understanding of the world. So, when you're reading a book, you can't see the characters, you just think of them. And if two characters have a similar vibe in the book, you might associate them, even if, like, you go back and read their descriptions and one guy has, like, green skin and is a million years old or something. Step away from the body. The sister's hand is extended toward the canoness's body. Her fingers are caught in a death spasm and large greenish spots have appeared on her skin. The muzzle of the plasma gun is melted, as is its power unit. Typical consequences of overheating. Cavities detected in the walls. Inside the walls are filtration systems. They seem to be quite ancient. Several of the pure white steps were melted by a plasma shot. Let's look at what we've got so far.
Identifying anomalies in visual representations. Any deviations from the norm will be made apparent.
As an autistic person, it's hard for me to try and write non-autistic characters. I had this problem once, says Pell. It's really just a matter of practicing. Yeah, I think like a lot of people have that problem, but it doesn't so clearly stick out to you or to the reader as it would for like if you have autism. But there's this assumption that everyone has that others think in the same way that we do. because that's the easiest way to imagine how someone might come to a conclusion, is just to put yourself in their shoes. We're taught to do that when we're young. I assume I will not be granted the opportunity to perform an autopsy in full compliance with all prescribed protocols. Without that, I cannot determine the specific toxin that caused the deaths. However, anticipating your question, the canoness was almost certainly poisoned. Cool. Conducting composition analysis in accordance with the Omnissiah's sacred protocols. Error margin acceptable. The amethyst contains a high concentration of a poisonous substance. The nobles teach their offspring the art of poisoning from the day they take their first steps. What could be more elegant than disposing of a competitor without staining a new pair of gloves? The moment it fell to the chapel floor, the amethyst bottle was still tightly sealed with wax, bearing the imprint of an aquila. So the amethyst bottle was what the poison was transported in, I guess. It was like a poison grenade. Somebody threw it and it broke. And this is Hypatia. One of the reasons we're taking Hypatia, even though she has very little dialogue, is because we see her piping up in these case data reports. So this is her. Mere clogging will not hinder the machine spirits of the chapel floor's filtration system from prevailing in their function. So the clogging, plasma gun with melted barrel. Steps in the chapel were melted by a plasma shot. The clogging does not prevent the floor filters in the chapel from functioning properly. So the gas that was released in here should not have been able to kill everybody. Like, there are filters and stuff.
Identifying key features for comparison. These parameters will form the basis for analysis.
The engraving on the back of the compass found on the body of the canoness matches the coat of arms of the Korda Rogue Trader dynasty. I bet I know how that happened. Kiwi says, that's a red herring if I ever saw one. It's a something, alright. A richly decorated, ancient-looking sarcophagus. We failed our wits roll there. The body of the Sister of Battle is covered with a tapestry depicting an unknown saint. Her hands clinging to the fabric bear strange greenish spots. The panel controls the mechanism that adjusts the height of the tapestries. The switch is completely stuck. Door stuck. Door stuck, I beg you. Ashes from the incense burner, collected in the chapel where the Adeptus Sororitas members perished. Got more stuff to look at.
The investigation of the evidence provided the following information.
An unusual charred leaf with serrated edges and tiny spines on its surface was found in the ashes. There is that, like, big garden room that we saw. The agricultural room. They were doing research on xenoflora. Can we put a really funny, like, fake thing in here? Not yet. The lectern's dusty surface reveals the faded impression of a book. Somebody took a book. Somebody stole the book that was in here.
Reconnoitering.
It was the Bible. The sister's skin has taken on a greenish hue. Judging by her posture, she was trying to crawl to the elevator. Suspicious servo skull. The machine spirit remains unresponsive to attempts to awaken it, yet the lumens within the servo skull flicker ominously, reacting to the slightest nearby movement. Give that, Commander. wasn't near that head. Like bugs. A whole platoon of bugs. Oh, so loud. Cog says he hears some unusual static noise in the device's vicinity. So remember, Cog has a brain implant that makes him smarter, but it also allows him to pick up unusual signals. This is if you've played Darktide, the bonehead Ogren can sometimes hear other people talking on the radio or on the Vox. Like you'll hear what is there's like a tech priest that's like in charge of all your equipment and stuff, and you'll frequently hear her like talking to other people. And she also talks to him. She's like keeping a special eye on him because his implant seems to be broken, and she's Hadron. Yeah, she's like, she's very funny. I like Hadron a lot. Ring key. Whenever the wearer gains the heroic effect, they gain 2 AP. Still looking for dark signs. Haven't been seeing dark signs. The grills of the floor filters are polished to a sheen, an immediately noticeable recent addition compared to the rest of the ancient chapel. And yet they produce the labored sound of a badly clogged up mechanism. Hypatia says that clog wouldn't impair their function, but it does suggest that something's going on here. I like that Hadron is... She looks like she's like maybe got one... She's like RoboCop level of... like RoboCop 2011 level of... or was it 2014? RoboCop 2014 level of... augmented. It's like just a human hand. And then I think she has an eye. She is really old, yeah. What are these numbers? 1, 2, 3, 4? She's got a hand and like half a face, yeah. Large drops of wax have hardened on the extinguished candles. Report, flame colors due to the use of promethium. Click. Candles are out. Oh, I see now. I see the one. 1, 2. Hi, crab. 3, 4. Oh, I did this wrong. I'm stupid. 1. I probably don't even need to light them. 2, 3. The like flames on them aren't always coming on, so it's hard to tell what state they're in. Okay, let's try that again. 1, 2, 3, 4. I want them to click. Right. Yeah, why don't they want to cooperate? Is something... Do I need to look at them a different way?
At once.
Is there maybe a number sequence we're missing that would say the order that we're supposed to light these in? I swear it's gotta be something. No? Okay.
Moving.
I don't think there's anything to that yet. If at all. There are other torches. Okay. The rest of the stream is messing with torches. Gonna do all the ones up here first? No. Okay, that worked. We're getting closer. So that's the first one. This is the second one. Third one up here. Okay, why don't I send one person? Send like Cog over here. Okay, so it's... Actually, I'll put my characters there so I remember the order. Now Hypatia will find the third one. It's better like solve the mystery and not give me like some goods. Or the goods had better be like really good. Okay, that's... Yes, alright, alright, alright. Is there any rhyme or reason? 1, 2... Okay, I see it now, I see it now. 3, and then... 4 would be this one. I gotcha. I get it. It's that the distance of them indicated, like, these two are in the central area, so here's 2 and here's 4, and then the ones in the wings are 1 and 3. 1 and 3. Literally the wings. It was a... Alright. Alright. It's a worse stat. Good. What does Blur do? I don't use our current staff that much. Target with an 8 gains 1 plus willpower bonus movement points. It does not provoke attacks for 3 4. That's not. I don't know. That's not really very good, but it's probably better than like the ability we're not using. Hi, baby. Are you thinking about something? Do you suppose that it is the appointed moment for an event to occur? Do you think that it is the hour of your consumption? That's right, we're gonna eat grub. Come here, baby. Come on. You want up? You don't want up, you're just hungry. Alright, so my read here is that the sabotage was more complicated than it seems. It wasn't just somebody threw a bottle of Amasec. It might have been that the burned plant and the broken bottle had to react with each other. And the reason it wasn't, the reason like the filters didn't get it is that they're new and could have possibly been tampered with. So that mere clog would not have stopped them, but purposeful, somebody purposefully damaging it could have. I think we need to talk to Aspis about the compass we found. That controls the height of the tapestries. What an odd detail. These? Hi, Bendon. Hi. Maybe she got... Maybe she was like running up to fix the filter, and somebody pushed the button that smacked her in the face with a oh, what's it? And they must have been back here if the plasma got fired. Yeah, baby. Hello. You want to say hello to chat? Wow. She says hello, everybody. She says my name's Grub. She says I'm playing Warhammer 40k Dark Heresy, which is a CRPG. We're in by Owlcat. It's the beta. It's quite good. Acolyte, we expected to see you accompanied by the canoness. Where is she? Axe looks at you with obvious impatience. Standing nearby is Lady Alantha. Gives you a slight nod. Governor, Canoness Marcella is dead. With the utmost regret, I must confirm the Acolyte's words. The Canoness is dead, as are several of her closest sisters. The news you bring is disastrous, and before it spreads further... The Lord Calixtus pulls out a box from the folds of his robe, issues a few orders through it, and turns to the guardsman. Step away from the doors. Any attempt to leave the palace or other such rooms will be punished by death, for such are the orders. What are we eating today, Grub? What kind of food do you like? Do you like chicken? Do you like salmon? Do you like mackerel? Do you like... Jesus. You want to eat that guy? You like corpse starch? Yakisaba? For all the Nichijou fans. No one will leave this palace now. We would like to say something meant for your ears alone, Acolyte. We are certain there's no need to discuss the gravity of the situation, therefore we will be extremely direct. We would be most obliged if you were to find the one who would bear the punishment for the death of the Canoness and her sisters. Otherwise, his eyes, usually lively for his age, gaze expressively at the sisters of battle standing nearby. You know the workings of the Lucid Palace better than anyone. Where would you suggest I start? Hax pensively adjusts the auto-injector attached to his forearm. The esteemed warrior intended to inspect every room personally before the start of the liturgy and check on every guest in this wing of the Lucid Palace. We believe that those who arrived early might know whom she had time to speak with and what she did before her tragic passing. Okay, Grub, you cannot go fully on the desk. You are fully in the way. Okay, I have to feed this cat or she's going to kill me. Will be just a moment. Mr. Halligan, the meal you have been enjoying was prepared using human flesh. The wine you are drinking contains human blood. What do you think about that, Mr. Halligan? I shouldn't make Interrogator Halligan canon by 40k homebrew, but it'd be really funny. Just utterly clueless and successful, but nobody really understands why. Interrogator Halligan and Seer Lowry. Oh, that'd be terrifying. Mystery of the chaos cult. I don't even know what you mean. You need not worry, your lordship. I will find the person responsible for the canoness's death. We will be most grateful to you when this unfortunate incident has been resolved. Alright, let's look at our new investigation items. Nothing. It says new, but then, oh, here we go. Witness testimonials, so we need to check those out. Quiet, I think someone is listening. We could have had a testimonial. Shao, did you see anything? I wish that was an option. We could be like, did you see anything around the chapel? Anybody who looked suspicious sneaking in and out of chapel? They probably would have been hard to spot. I know there's a bit, but if you'd kept an eye out, you might have seen something. You know, you never know. Anybody who looked like they didn't belong here, you know. Tell me what you know about the canoness. I cannot tell you anything of use. In the eyes of Marcella and her kind, I am merely a heresy permitted to exist as lesser evil, and I did not seek her company. What is she in your eyes? Is she... oh my god, they let us do it! They let us do it! Yes! When and where did you last see the canoness? Shao smile. Oh my god. Oh, this is funny. Shao smiles, the band over his eyes creasing. Do not be discomfited. I see no less clearly than do the eyes of an ordinary human is born with. Okay. So, also he thought that was funny. So, like the band over his eyes creasing indicates that it's a genuine smile. Love that. Do you have any suspicions about who might have wished the canoness harm? There are many who would celebrate her demise. The Adeptus Sororitas are rarely convenient allies. But would anyone dare to take upon themselves such a transgression? That is an entirely different question, and I'm not prepared to answer it. Perhaps someone's sufficiently desperate? Enough about the canoness. Let's talk about you. I am but a humble servant of the God Emperor. Same. Who stands watch over his creation. I've held my post as choir master for many years, and in that time dozens of astropaths in my charge labored in diligent service to maintain Scintilla's link to the worlds of the Calixtus sector and the rest of the Imperium. Until recently. We know the answer to until recently. We live in the era of darkness, Acolyte. The last time Scintilla received a sanctioned astropath was many years ago, and the ranks of my choir have continued to thin since, until I eventually forbade the rituals of message transmission from being performed altogether. Now the voice of Scintilla's astropathic choir is silent, and there must exist a grave reason for us to risk the lives of those few who remain. Okay, so the... we were, like, at another planet when the Tyrant Star showed up, and the Noctis Eterna is a new... Is the Noctis Eterna something that's been going on for years, or is it something that just happened since that that event with the Tyrant Star? Because it means everybody's stuck here on this planet, and there's no astropaths doing anything, because anybody who links up to the Immaterium is going to get exploded. Do you only relay messages for Governor Hax or for all the nobles of Scintilla? My personal involvement in the message sending is limited to sessions of the greatest importance and urgency, Acolyte. As for the astropathic choir, forces beyond our own have severed Scintilla from the Imperium and the other worlds of the Calixis sector. Any attempt to establish contact beyond the system results in nothing more than the inevitable death of the choir's members. We can't even be certain that our voices reach the other astropathic choirs at all. Okay, I have a friend who is, he is within the Eldar Webway, if you can believe it. And he is setting up a way for humanity to use the webway, so that we don't have to do warp travel anymore. I want to know how he's doing, so if you can call him up for me. I'm sure he'd love to hear from us. Do you live here in the Lucid Palace? No, my sanctum is in the Bastion Porphyr, another of Sibelius' spires. This is where the chambers of the astropathic choir are located, and where I reside. He has to fly here every day for work, like from another spire. And where I reside, I'm at the Lucid Palace for the Invocatum Sanctus, and to meet you, enough. Wait, are we really going to ignore the most striking detail in this individual's appearance? Epione casts a glance over Xiao. How have you managed to maintain such a remarkable physical condition? All the examples of sorcerers I have observed display, shall we say, rather distressing metrics. Rather depressing metrics. What about me? I look fine. I've got, like, half of my head is missing, and, you know, I got the glowy eyes. I hope his fuck-ass son doesn't do anything wrong. Okay, the Age of Darkness became a thing when Cadia fell, when the lore was like 10 to 15 years before the most recent shit happening in 40K. So, it's been the Age of Darkness for 10 or 15 years, but they said that, like, no ships, or is it just that ships are having a hard time, not that they can't go at all? Follow a strict diet, child. Mental and physical, but the key factor is discipline. Without it, any effort becomes little more than a pitiful attempt to hold back a river with bare hands. So, she just said, how come you don't look all fucked up? Like, psychers always look horrible. And he just literally said diet and exercise. What else is it you wish to know, Acolyte? Tell me about the palace. The Lucid Palace is one of the oldest spires on all Scintilla. Once it was all one vast temple. Clean living. He built like a brick shit house. It would be funny if he just said, I don't know. Like, why do you look fine? You don't... Like, all you got is some, like, veins going on. You're not, like, dying. Oh, I don't know. It's weird. Once it was all one vast temple from its foundations to its peak, dedicated to the glorification of this world's martyrs. Now it is the residence of the Lord Calixis, the governor's reception hall, where he holds court and conducts the final service of the Invocatum Sanctus in honor of Saint Sibelius. There's archaeotech within the palace walls, filters or something similar. Do you know anything about this? I am but a curious reader, not a member of the Adeptus Mechanicus. He folds his hands before him. Once the left wing of the chapel housed a library, primarily for the transcription of confessions, but the records of the ancient engineers could also be found there. Attendants used to read them to me. Now these records are in the keeping of the tech priests who maintain the systems of the Lucid Palace. You should visit their sanctuary. Perhaps something has survived to this day. The entire spire was a temple? That is correct. Today, only the very apex still houses its original sacred chambers. The chapel where the final service of the Invocatum Sanctus will be held. It has survived almost unchanged. Why are the reception services being held here specifically? Where better to glorify Saint Sibelius than at the very apex of the hive city that was named for him? It is a celebration of human endeavor in a temple raised to such a height by the strength of the God Emperor's children that the air beyond its walls is lethal due to toxic miasma and lack of oxygen. The Lord Calixtus understands the art of symbolic gestures. That's pretty good. What's going on in this planet that, like, there's breathable atmosphere until you get up to a certain point and then it just sucks? They've got, like, such an insane greenhouse effect. You seem to know a great deal about this palace's past. The spires are silent witnesses to the history of Scintilla Vermina. Each one is a marvel of human will, clad in ceramite and plasteel and governed by ancient archaeotech that slumbers in the belly of every tower. These halls, these walls are full of secrets on whose very existence we cannot even speculate. Why is this planet just Detroit and also Miami? In Book of the New Sun, there's a very funny line where they're talking about a palace, and the palace is similarly really old, and nobody, like, it's full of, like, secret passages and all this stupid bullshit that nobody understands. And at one point, someone offhandedly mentions a species of albino wolves that have been living in the walls. And, like, that he keeps forgetting that he needs to go and, like, work on getting those out of there. It's like, what are you talking about? Every once in a while, you get something really funny like that in those books. It's just like the offhanded mention of something insane that they don't go back to. I think 40K does that from time to time. Although it's also afflicted by the disease of like the same disease that afflicts, like, Star Wars. Like, if you ever open Wikipedia, like, every single little detail in any of the movies is now like, oh, this is actually this, and it was here, and it did this, and it contributed this, and like a bunch of stuff that was never in the original script, but, like, has been backfilled. Fancraft, I guess. Acolyte. The red-haired woman you met earlier greets you with a wide smile, too playful for your heart to not skip a beat at the prospect of fresh trouble. I hope you haven't forgotten me since our last meeting. Aspis Corda, the rogue trader, Lord Captain of the Implacable Flame and heir to the Corda trade dynasty? Of course not. I suddenly felt like exchanging a few words with you, given that your mission at the Lucid Palace has undergone rather unexpected and dramatic transformation. What a thrilling turn of events. I have a feeling you want something from me. You might have, Aspis gives you a thin, vicious smile, the smile of the powers that be, the sight of which fills you with the urge to recoil. You might have realized by now that I do not waste either my time or that of others on empty discourse. She flicks her wrist, making circles with low smoke in the air. My duties have led me to many places and in many situations, probably too many for one person to manage, but never in my life have I witnessed first-hand servant of the Inquisition at work. I expect it to be quite an insightful experience. I would like to participate in the investigation, under your expert guidance, of course. I have no intention of interfering with your work and would rather observe from the sidelines. She taps her nail on her lips thoughtfully and lowers her eyelashes in feigned modesty. I assume your higher-ups would not object. After all, an alliance with a rogue trader is more advantageous and reliable than the strained relations resulting from their last move. Oh, I don't know, guys, I don't know. Do we want... Oh, I don't know. Do we want her in the group? Like, oh, she's got red hair. Is that cool? She's, like, super powerful and scary. Is I would be most delighted to have such an ally as one of my warband Lord Captain. Splendid, Seneschal. Aspis snaps her fingers, and the burly man beside her straightens to attention. The Lord Captain should be taking a stroll on her own. Watch the guests and maintain communication with the Voxmaster. Report on noteworthy events only. I do not wish to be disturbed with any trifles from orbit. She casts a glance at you. And spare me your courtesies. I despise feigned servility. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Boy. think Cog needs to take a break. Epion would be the one to take a break, except we're in the middle of a murder investigation, so... I lost the ability to ask her about the compass, but maybe I can do that with this. The most blessed canonist, may the God Emperor praise her radiant wisdom, assumed there was some kind of evil mechanism inside the device. I decided not to put the good woman's resolve to the test, and instead generously offered the compass to her so that she could inspect it herself. I don't believe that for a second. I think they were up to something. Something erotic. Of all the sanctum sanctoria she could have walked into, she walked into mine. Epion foaming at the mouth right now. Yeah, we all are. Okay, so she's also an officer. Voice of command is quite good. She's got a Castellan's ring. Whenever the wearer uses an ability granting a positive effect, the target gains 5% damage reduction for 1 round. Does not stack. Commanding voice. Immediate take on every officer. Mel says, damn, I thought she was dead based on what her sister tells us in Rogue Trader. Well, Incendia says a lot of things. I got Takis. Or sorry, they're Dinamitas, which are superior. So when Aspis attacks an enemy within her influence, she gains 1 stack of the Rogue Trader Frontier Commander. Her non-attacking abilities increase or reduce morale change by 1 more for each stack of the effect. Wow, okay. Bring it down, make me proud. That's new. Sorry. The officer gains plus morale, 1 morale for every enemy killed through Bring It Down. I kind of like this. It just gives somebody 2 morale when we click on them. Let's see. Dual wielding specialist. Let's just get her, because we've got 2 other officers in the group right now, so let's make her a little bit more combat focused. A disdainful stare. The morale of all enemies within Aspis Quarter's influence is reduced by 2. Once per turn, if a character kills an enemy with this attack, they regain 1 AP. That's good. You always want action economy. The second attack against the same target turn deals 16% more damage. And a skill. May as well do some... Intimidation, I suppose. Okay. The officer moves to target ally, and they both gain +10 defense. Let's get that. I like that there are ways for, like, an officer isn't just a morale specialist. Like, they can also get like officer specific combat abilities, like attacking abilities and stuff. They still focus on morale, but like you can lean more into hitting people. Hold fast. Ooh, that's pretty good. Remove any bleeding, burning, and toxin effects from the target ally. I got Dynamitas in my throat. Dubious knowledge. All aspects of the Corda's abilities scale on 7. I don't know what that means. Did they mean Lord Xenos and they accidentally linked it? That's pretty funny. Boxed commands. The target and all of its allies within its influence gains 7% hit chance for 1 round. Okay, we want to put this on Get Back in the Fight, because that's the one that removes debuffs, so now we know it removes debuffs and gives you... It removes damage over time. Thrill of Battle. If we kill an enemy with the attack, we gain 1 AP. So that is 35. Okay, so we can put... Yeah, this now scales with her Lord Xenos, which is 70 instead of 35. Officers did feel a little one note in Rogue Trader. Yeah, initially, yeah. The game is, as I understand it, is very different from what it was when it came out, which is when I played it. But the morale system adds a whole new like layer to it, you know. So yeah, everybody's just got 2 influence. Haven't yet seen a way to turn that up or down. Okay, we will save real fast.
No sense in delaying.
General Aldrich, is it? Do not pester me. I'm investigating. Blood of the Emperor. If one more lackey disturbs me without bringing me a glass of Amasek. Oh, she's cool. So many medals. Like the medals should add like a layer of extra armor on that side. Like if she's attacked from the right flank, it's 1 extra. Oh, not only does she have all those scars, but like if you look on the right side of her face, there's like a gold plate. That's great. A woman with a build so solid that her fusilier tunic strains at the shoulders turns sharply toward you. For several seconds, her pale, almost white eyes study your face before she exhales noisily. The fury raging within her does not vanish, but recedes to some inner depth. Ah, it's you, servant of the Golden Throne. Didn't mean to offend you. I'm not that foolish. Praise his saints. Ha! She makes the sign of the aquil over her chest with a precise motion. Lord General Odom, I command the Centillan Fusiliers regiments, as well as other Astra Militarum units attached to the sector contingent in Calixis. To what do I owe the pleasure? Despite the astonishing speed with which the general greeted you and returned to her previous stance, you had time to notice a fresh burn on her palm, barely concealed by her white glove. How'd you get burned? That plasma pistol exploded on discharge. Barely had time to throw it away. She speaks with confidence, but you're absolutely certain that plasma weapon overheat burns are far more severe than what you can see. Perhaps you have questions for a member of the Inquisition? For a moment, Odin regards you with a look that could at best be described as assessing. Still, she nods. There is one matter. About a centillion year ago, an Inquisitor from the Bastion Serpentis requisitioned a platoon of my Fusiliers. Since then, I've heard nothing of my soldiers. Can you find out what became of them so I may inform their families? I will do everything in my power to ensure you receive this information, Lord General. Thank you, Acolyte. That is a noble deed. I did not expect it. Yeah, that's the way to do it with Alucard games. You play it unreleased, then wait 2 or 3 years and play a game that's practically unrecognizable. Yeah, I've been thinking of going back, because like all of that DLC is out now. There was no DLC when I played. Regarding the murder of Canoness Marcella, have you found that heretic yet? Who do you think killed her? We are in a palace and a murder has occurred here. It does not take a genius to see that Marcella fell victim to noble intrigues. Hax panders to the highborn, but though he pretends to keep them on a tight leash. I believe the Canoness crossed some house, and that is where her story ended tragically. May the God Emperor receive her soul. Where were you at the moment of her death? Here, in this blasted hall, I was assigning posts, receiving reports, and ensuring that the Adeptus Sororitas in their infinite wisdom did not bungle the security of the guests. Questions about you? What brought you to the palace? Apart from being, as you may have noticed, one of the highest-ranking individuals in this God Emperor-preserved sector, I am providing security for the palace during the festivities. The Lord Calixtus requested my personal presence. He did he? What are your duties on Scintilla? I command the Astra Militarum, sector headquarters for Calixtus. I make wretched insects, accustomed to holding quills instead of las guns, remember their duty to the Imperium. The rage simmering in Lord General Odom's chest erupts in a suppressed growl. An invasion is coming, an enemy no one has prevailed against before, and all they can think about is their petty political games. The hatred and fury living within this woman are so potent it seems she's ready to personally execute every single quill pusher. That wits test has failed. I assume it might have said that she's faced this enemy before, and maybe that's where she got her scars. Or at least some of them. Let's take my leave.
Keeping my eye.
The Lord General did not even try to hide her enmity toward Canoness Marcella. Everything about this murder is quite obvious. My thoughts exactly. Do you recall Lord Theron publicly asserting that she would never be Lord General? Well, they found him dead the next day, a victim of robbery. A likely story. I heard her other political opponents met with similar unfortunate incidents, which none of them survived. God, Emperor, accept the souls of your faithful servants. As always, everyone knows everything and yet does nothing. When will things finally change? You're in the Imperium. It is no surprise that the Fusiliers and the Solensis Sectores disgrace themselves so thoroughly. As we all know, a fish rots from the head down. What do you know? Please be on your way, mistress. I must work. Did you do it? What is that? What is that silver tray you're holding? What is it? Did you use it to carry poison into the...
Reconnoitering.
The servant of the Adeptus Mechanicus greets you with a dignified gesture. A servo skull connected to detect priest's ports focuses its lenses on you. Hey, we know this guy. This is the guy we were talking to on the Vox. We fixed his thing. He's pretty scary.
Acolyte of the Holy Inquisition. Before you stands the conduit of the will and the vessel for the voice of Cartesiarchus Hecatus Prime, fabricated general of the Lathe World's fleet.
Fabricator General of the Lathe World's fleet, Cartesiarchus Hecatus Prime. At the reception, he is represented by a temporary vessel that aids him in interacting with the outside world. So this isn't even him. like he's in the throne. This thing is just walking around. The tech priest is trying to maintain a straight posture. You notice his right leg is twisted at an unnatural angle, oozing an oily fluid. Raker Sage says, oh, he gets VO? Yeah, well, he's also not a noble, but, we were talking to him before.
A query is being formulated regarding the reasons for communication between a high-ranking Adeptus Mechanicus official and a lower-ranked Inquisition member.
Does the Lay of the World's fleet have any requests for the Inquisition?
A member of the Holy Orders initiating communication of this nature is unexpected, requesting time to study possible courses of interaction.
We just blue screened him.
By the will of the Omnissiah, an omen embodied in a Vox transmission was sent indicating the location of an abandoned Adeptus Mechanicus laboratory. According to unconfirmed reports, research for the Holy Orders was conducted there. Does the priesthood of Mars have the right of priority access to this site, or will the Inquisition contest it?
What kind of research?
Unknown. It has been established that deliveries of biomaterial were made there from various hive cities. Nothing else.
I probably don't have authorization, but yeah, sure. I am registering the blessing of logic bestowed upon the servant of the Golden Throne by the will of the Omnissiah. Research cohorts will be dispatched toward the source of the signal. Show the reconnaissance service goal. I found this in that chapel where the canoness was murdered.
Servo Skull of the Sensoris category. Equipped with a high sensitivity or specs. A moderately interesting model. An insistent demand is being formulated for the transfer of this unit of sacred technology into the care of the Adeptus Mechanicus.
I'm not gonna... I don't need to intimidate him. Yeah, man, I got servo skulls coming out of my ears. Here you go.
Any technology is the right and property of the servants of the Omnissiah. Assistance has been recorded and recognized as sufficient grounds for further cooperation.
There's a... I've mentioned it before. There's a series of stories that somebody told about their, a Dark Heresy campaign that they played. The tabletop game, and it was called the All Guardsman Party. It started out as a game of Only War, which is a tabletop game where you play as a guardsman, and then it just like later transitioned into being Dark Heresy. And it's like four players playing as guardsmen, I think, and it might be 5. I think it's 4. And there's one part where there's a Magos, and he keeps. They keep thinking it's a different guy because he goes and gets all of his like implants swapped out anytime he needs like to do different functions. So every time they see him, he looks totally different. Like he's sometimes he's like a car, and sometimes he's like a Dr. Octopus guy, and you know sometimes he's like 9 feet tall. Just
Important contextual information. The Lord Calixis has initiated several research-oriented expeditions. One such undertaking, despite lack of proper preparation, managed to obtain a valuable artifact which can be classified as part of archaeotech technology. Priority operational directive of the Lathe World's fleet. Extraction of this artifact for the benefit of the priesthood of Mars without notification of the Lord Calixis.
oh boy. Okay, that must have been. I assume that's why he placed the servo skull to spy on the sisters. He's trying to steal this thing. So there's a heist going on in the middle of this murder mystery. Come on, man. There's also like drug smuggling story going. There's like it's like Scarface and Murder on the Orient Express and like Ocean's 11 are all happening at the same time, except everyone's a 40k character. The proposed assumption regarding the surveillance of the chapel by means of a servo skull may be confirmed. Confirmation conditions: transfer of the artifact located in the study of planetary Governor Marius Hax to this cognition unit. Additional requirement for cooperation: absence of third-party notifications regarding these agreements. The servo skull hovering above the tech priest turns its backside toward you, displaying a row of connected data crypts. A data crypt, I think, is a, like a thumb drive. Information will be provided in exchange for the artifact. That'll do.
Expressing a need for more functional communication, or else it's termination.
Hi, Sammy. I have questions regarding the murder of the sisters.
This topic has a low assigned priority on the list of topics of interest. However, as a sign of cooperation between the Inquisition and the Lathe World's fleet, the information will be provided.
Who did it?
The list of individuals motivated to terminate the life functions of the specified ardent servants of the Ecclesiarchy is too extensive to form a reasonable hypothesis.
I like that, so canonically, tech priests don't all wear red. Red robes with white trim is the color of the priesthood of Mars. But there's priesthoods all over the galaxy, so like they come in all different colors. But I think for like branding purposes or something, they only ever showed like the Mars guys in media. You never see like a you never see like a blue tech priest.
The memory of this cognition unit contains information exhibiting signs of being valuable, but that was previously ignored due to its assumed insignificance. There is confirmation of an excessively emotional verbal exchange between the individuals Pontifex Gartius and Canoness Marcella, which may be interpreted as a religious dispute. Mutual animosity between the specified individuals is assumed.
The text here, this bit between the two sentences is, after another pause, he continues trying to lower his voice, but he's speaking through a Vox that seems to only have one setting. Skitaria and Darktide, or Skitaria and Darktide can be different colors. Yeah, but like, I mean, if you like watch like an animation, or like, you know, in a game like this, they're just going to be red. They're customizable in Darktide partly because, like, you know, they wanted to have customizable characters. So. It must be noted that the individual designated Pontifex exhibited a prolonged absence following the festivities. The procession clearly caused degradation of his weak flesh. At its conclusion, he displayed motor function impairment and a distinct limp. Probability suggests that the Pontifex retreated to his chambers and remained absent until the arrival of other guests for this specific reason. What do you know about Cardius?
Dispensing reference information. Pontifex Cartius is a representative of Archcardinal Ignato, assigned to this location to participate in the festivities and conduct the Invocatum Sanctus. A suggestion to discuss more valuable topics is made.
Every tech priest in this game is like, please God, stop talking to me. Like, just can we end this conversation as soon as possible? It's causing me physical pain.
The selection of a worthy topic for discussion will be taken into account when calculating the usefulness of this organic unit.
I know that he operates the tech priest, and I know that's what he's doing here, so that's all.
The shift to less an expectation.
Actually, wait.
Acolyte. This cognition unit has been granted a great honor to become a temporary conductor of the voice of the Fabricator General. The immediate body is located in the orbit of Scintilla, which hinders direct communication with insufficiently augmented lay people.
Right, so his actual body, like, is in orbit, but also I think maybe he's, a lot of tech priests are like, you can't really talk directly to them. They're too teched out. Oh, we know what he's
Presence in
doing.
this location is justified by the necessity of social contacts with the authoritative structures of the world of Scintilla. Priority objective of formal interaction. Lord Calixis Marius Hax. The shift to less informative topics has been found discouraging.
I love
An
this guy.
expectation for more informative future communication has been cued.
Like these sisters, you know, they're like different colors than the other ones we saw, I think, and you do see different kinds of sisters in different media. Did anybody ask you to escort them to the murder site and then away from there really quickly after the murder? Mr. Usher? Creepers drive me up. My boys, all 3 of them, lying on the ground, and for what? Follow orders. If you just do what the authorities say, you'll always be able to survive in an authoritarian society. The Rathbone. You know anything about this Amasek? It's truly a rare vintage, said to be favored on Holy Terra itself. One must be either extremely influential or extremely wealthy to obtain it. Only a handful of personages in this place could afford such a drink. But we saw that there had been a break-in in the basement. Who would have wished for her death? I fear the murderer may have been one of the distinguished guests. From what I know, the deceased believed that someone among them was guilty of heresy, and that there was sufficient evidence for a verdict. Indeed, the canoness hinted that she was nearly ready to expose the wrongdoer. I can only guess why she required evidence for the accusation. I assume the individual wields enough influence that even the Adeptus Sororitas chose to err on the side of caution. I know for a fact there had been opposition between the Order of the Sacred Rose and Lord General Autumn, who was in charge of the Scintillan Fusiliers. You may wish to pay particular attention to her. Would Pontifex Cardius dare to harm one of the daughters of the Emperor? There are many inflated rumors following the Pontifex, yet one, the most scandalous of all, he seems to be in no hurry to deny. He is said to have been an adept of a death cult in his younger years. Naturally, such a thing is virtually impossible. Nonetheless, these speculations may well have sparked a conflict between 2 such devout individuals. So, death cults they are imperial, they're not like a chaos thing usually. Or, I guess, often. They're controversial, but that's like where you get the best assassins and stuff, is people who think that like killing for the Emperor is desirable. They're not quite Space Marine level rare, but they're uncommon. Yeah, and then they come in like different side. Like it could just be like a little thing, or it could be like a big kind of sprawling organization. They're not rare, but they're... I don't think it was the Fabricator General, because whoever did it like sabotaged the thing and like kind of botched it a little bit. What about the altercation between altercation between the Canoness and Lord General? Not long ago, the Lord General dispatched a cohort of Fusiliers to the Selene sectors to quell a rabble uprising, and it turned into a tragedy. What started as a mere disturbance became a massacre, as the Hab Zone was drowned in blood and tears. The Astra Militarum suffered immense losses, and the Adeptus Sororitas had to come to their aid. However, it was not solely the rebels whom the valiant sisters punished. You see, some of the Fusiliers had disgraced themselves with desertion, and so the sisters declared their cowardice heresy. This led to summary executions that were carried out on the spot without the Lord General's sanction. The only clemency was that the sisters showed to those who were weak in spirit was to grant them the Emperor's peace. You can imagine what a feast for condemnation this sorry incident provided. Autumn's authority was shaken, and she is quite an ambitious individual. Could Hax have done it? Do not think that noble blood compels me to deflect suspicion from the Master of Scintilla, but I truly have nothing to say. If a shadow did fall between him and the Canoness, then the details are unknown to me. The Lord Calixtus guards his secrets well. And the Fabricator General wouldn't do this. The servants of the machine cult are far more sophisticated in their intrigues than you might imagine. Yet I have heard whispers of a rather mundane conflict between the Adeptus Mechanicus and the Adeptus Sororitas here at the palace. You may wish to seek out the details from both parties yourself. What about you? Let this misplaced question remain between us. I was hoping to amuse her. Should Inquisitors observe reading your report that you suspect me, it would reflect poorly on your standing, not mine. The instant you amass the semblance of a body of evidence, you will realize that I have no involvement in the matter. What does he say in L.A. Noire? Sometimes you just gotta shake the tree, see what falls out. Who could have gained access to the chapel? Perhaps a person about whom the Fusilier gods are willing to remain silent even under threat of death. It'll be alright.
No sense in delaying.
Time to make a tech priest character who wears neon orange robes. So there is a, like the second biggest tech priest faction wears orange robes, but like they're just normal orange. Neon orange. You could do like the stuff that like construction workers wear, you know? Like high visibility. Are you a madman? Do you kill Sisters of Battle, lady? Are you a madman? Richly dressed Fusilier. No trespassers detected. Pontifex Cartius. Pontifex Cartius raises a gaunt face the color of yellowed parchment. Deep shadows lie beneath his eyes, and a fresh burn mars his cheek, its surface glistening with a wet crust and emitting a faint scent of medicinal ointment. Noticing your gaze upon him, he sways slightly. Are you unwell, Pontifex? I fear the news of the esteemed sister's demise caught me unawares. I am Vermina, acolyte of the Inquisition. The Holy Order is interested in determining who is responsible for the death of the Canoness and her esteemed sisters. I greet you, servant of the Golden Throne. A pity our meeting must take place under such sorrowful circumstances. Yet, all is the will of the God Emperor. In the dim light of the lumens, the Pontifex's eyes seem almost black. His whisper, verging on reverent, reaches your ears, somehow drowning out the hum of the crowd. To think, the blessed Canoness Marcella, whose soulless hand dared defile her light. An acolyte of the Holy Order stands before you. Do you have any pleas or requests that I might address? The Pontifex narrows his eyes with suspicion. I am honored that the Inquisition would make such an offer to the ecclesiarchy. Your generosity is commendable indeed. Though I fear the price may prove excessively high. Still, one of the noble houses of Calixtus have forbidden the mission from delivering sermons in the vicinity of their estate. In these unsettled times for Scintilla, it is of paramount importance to offer our prayers to the God Emperor, extolling deeds performed for the benefit of the Imperium. Only the deranged or the heretical would claim otherwise, and thus I was not surprised when tidings reached me that certain members of this house are collectors of profane tomes. I can only assume such information would be of interest to you, as an agent of the Inquisition. We got an Emelathian response. Are you trying to use the Inquisition as your personal instrument for disposing of nobles who disagree with your rabble-rousers? Were I in your position, I would weigh the consequences of such an attempt before making it. The Pontifex inclines his head politely, offering no further reply. Only a slight tremor at the corner of his mouth betrays his indignation. He's vizier-coated. I like the idea of Phelps asking questions like that to an admech and they just start overclocking with rage. You just hear their fans spool up like crazy. I still miss when computers made clicking noises. I think it wasn't the disk, it was the processors, right? Or no. Yeah, it was the disk, right? Processors don't have moving parts, I'm thinking. Bless me, bitch. Blessing. Checking his obvious surprise, Cartius draws a worn aquila from the folds of his robes. Its edges are slightly ground down, and you notice red marks in the man's palm as he raises the aquila to your forehead and begins reciting a prayer of fortitude. The thought-fogging scent of sacred incense envelops you. May his will guide you through the taint of deception to the light of truth. Talk about you. I heard rumors you belong to a death cult, Pontifex. Are you a madman? Your burn looks painful. What happened? An old injury, having no bearing on the present investigation. The Pontifex fixes you with a stern look. Based on collateral signs, and considering the nature of the burn, I can surmise that the Pontifex is experiencing acute pain, the kind that may drive an individual to exhibit irrational behavior. There's nothing shameful in pain. I will endure any trials that the God Emperor places in my path. Now, if that will be all... I've heard rumors you belong to a death cult, Pontifex. What are you implying, Vermina? I am a devoted servant of the God Emperor, and I have proved my loyalty to him time and again. That is all you need to know. Why are you here? Archcardinal Ignacio entrusted me with the... It was Ignacio! Or Ignato, okay. It was Ignacio! It's Lalo. Archcardinal Ignato entrusted me with leading the procession during the celebrations of Saint Sibelius. Is it truly prudent to discuss such things before you have found the murderer? Let's talk about the canonists. Acolyte Goodman. Yeah, he'd be an officer, and he'd just have officer abilities and not even, like, equip a weapon. He might be a psyker because he's the magic man. Lightning shoots from his fingertips, according to him. Maybe he's just, like, pretending to be a psyker. Because, like, most people in the Imperium, especially, like, his clients, would be not really good at spotting the difference. Where'd you go after you left the festivities? I won't deny that the procession took a toll on me. Pain tore through my leg, and upon returning to the palace, I retired to my assigned quarters to prepare for the coming service. I fear my bones are not as strong as they once were. When did you last see the canoness? After the procession, the last I saw of Canoness Marcella was in the main hall, standing beside the governor. Is there anyone you suspect? Suspect? I am certain I know the exact identity of the vile heretic who committed this heinous crime. Turn your attention to the Fabricator General, Vermina. Shortly before the tragedy, the canoness tried to confiscate a dangerous artifact from him so as to deliver it to the safekeeping of the Archcardinal. But the followers of the so-called Machine God resisted fiercely. Even the palace guard was forced to intervene, along with Lord Calixus Hax himself. The gang of cultists from the Lathe World's fleet was led by Cartesius Hecatus Prime. Note I did not say in person. In truth, the man is safely in orbit around Scintilla, and instead sent his servant, a wretched vessel for his voice, twisted as it is by his false faith, to participate in the procession. The Pontifex sneers. An unprecedented insult, to be sure, but does it not strike you as unusual that the prime suspect had already taken such precautions? I consider that an admission of guilt. No, it seems like something a Mechanicus guy would do, like, whenever possible, like every day of his life. Oh, hey, do you want to fly down to the planet and walk around bodily, or do you want to control a fucking cyborg puppet over the radio? Yeah. I wonder which one I'm going to choose. Stupid ass. I know you had a conflict with the canoness. What was the reason behind it? Eating chips while interviewing him. The subject of our dispute shall remain between myself, Canoness Marcella, and the God Emperor. The affairs of the ecclesiarchy are not for outside ears, even those belonging to an agent of the Inquisition. Let's change the subject. Oh, I gotta go. Go now, Vermina. May the truth become the weapon with which you strike down apostates and traitors. I like the eating chips bit because it lets me eat chips. I clicked listen in and just nothing happened. Give me the treasures. Perfectly timed cut away from the explosion. Doom Flamer. Is there something I can assist you with? No, we got it. We're good. You heard the Pontifex did it? Or you bet the Pontifex did it? Pontifex Sullivan. He's in a... It's not a death cult, it's a eating everybody cult. And they've got a guy who's eating everybody. Does E1 M1 play every time you fire it? Assistant Treasurer Valgrant. I'm looking for the murder of Canoness Marcella. Have you seen anything suspicious? We, the servants of the palace treasury, were engaged day and night in provisioning the festivities. He frowns and for a moment looks utterly drained. I would be glad to aid you in uncovering the heretic, but alas, may God, the God Emperor guide your steps. I'm a little sad that we sent Cog home because we didn't get to, I wonder if he has, like, some dialogue if he meets the general.
At one.
She seems to actually care about her troops. Are we able to go to the docks? We are. Whoa, this looks cool. I've never tried Warhammer or anything. This is cool. This is the beta. The game hasn't come out yet. I don't think it has a release date. I'm guessing Q4 this year, maybe Q1 next year. So far it's not been a super buggy experience, which is unusual for this company. And the CRPG has done a great job of in this company's in Owlcat's previous CRPGs, they have had like way too many trash fights, and it just like the story's always really good, but like getting from beat to beat in the story is such like a slog. But here, there've been like what, maybe in 7 streams, maybe like a dozen fights, and almost all of them have been like really cool, like really super it's never just like a straight fight. There's always like some stuff going on, like a weird objective, or like the scenario is very strange, like the tactical scenario. And it has a really good combat system, and it actually requires you to think pretty hard about what you're doing. So I've appreciated that. Potentially Q4. That'd be my guess, just based on how complete this is, but I don't know. I'm guessing Owlcat maybe wants to shake off their reputation of releasing games that definitely need a lot more time in the oven. So they might take longer. Okay, I don't think there's anything new to find back here. Just checking real fast. Yeah, alright. There was like some treasure back here before. I was wondering if there were any clues, though. And this game is like a, like somebody sat down and designed an encounter. Yeah, yeah, for sure. And this is like a detective game, right? Like this game is mostly about solving a series of whodunits, and so using combat as like a way to really push the climax of a scenario has been going great. There's the moment to moment is something CRPGs are really good at, which is, you know, talking to people. And Warhammer, the universe can be really interesting when you can get into the nitty gritty like this. Hey guys, how's it going? The vid screen reads, Anfatia Nobilis, named in honor of the Anfatid Ligera of House Portalis, martyred patroness of monasteries. May her soul dwell forever in the light of the Golden Throne. Unassuming plant with broad leaves. The vid screen reads, Chlorophydia, whose seeds were brought by the void ship Saint's Marsh, though that vessel fell in battle against heretics, the memory of the Imperium's defenders will endure until the end of time. Small tendrils cover the seeds of the plant, so the plant we're looking for has serrated edged leaves. This is Clinconium flammeus, a plant whose sap repels all pests. Just as the shrub is free of corruption, so too must humanity abide neither mutant nor witch in its presence. A predatory-looking plant. Thin, translucent spines on its... Yeah! There we go. This was our plant. Lump of soil with a footprint. Let's look at the other ones while we're here. Rare plants, assembled by the Lord. Emularia splicata, gifted by the Chartist captains of the Cronus Expanse. Vast is the domain of the Imperium, and yet here you behold proof of humanity's grand expansion. Bush with small round leaves, all covered in pale veins. Partaflexus aureus is a hardy shrub cultivated on a distant, inhospitable world, one among countless planets conquered by humanity. Sparking pearls of sap adorn the serrated edge of the leaves. Not meant to be sparkling. The runes on the vid screen indicate the humidity and oxygen levels and oxygen cycles. Okay. Let's look at what this means in the journal. So this is Hypatia again. The domes in the Agri Conservatory are multifunctional. They maintain optimal conditions for plant units and protect the lay people from lethal contact with poisonous flora. Okay. Deserters from the Fusiliers were branded as heretics and publicly executed. We know that. Mysterious artifact. The Fabricator General is not against the idea of obtaining a valuable artifact that was discovered... He's not against the idea on the expedition organized by the Lord Calixus bypassing the governor. The Adeptus Sororitas, they got into armed conflict. I didn't realize they were just arguing. It actually turned into a fight. It would be really funny if it was the insanely suspicious-looking ecclesiarchy dude both times. I like the look on this eye. I think it's meant to just be like maybe non-functional, but we're not making this determination. So this determination being yellow indicates that it conflicts with something else that we know. Aspis just handed this over freely. So that would contradict a determination that she was responsible. Okay, we've looked at all these plants.
Always on the move.
Okay, 2 sets of footprints leave. Oh no, 3. Okay, 1 set came in here. Argosy biologist, day 17. Pages on the table are intended for assembling poisons. Chief Tech Warden's key. The tech priest is hunched over one of the roots lying on the table, engrossed in sorting through numerous files with his mechadendrites. Your appearance makes him start. Unauthorized unit, you are not cleared for this sanctum. Cease your presence here at once. His demeanor changes somewhat when he notices Hypatia and turns to her for support. Esteemed Magos, I request assistance. My current work. I deny your plea for aid. Every tech priest serving outside of a forge world is eventually importuned by stubborn, high-ranking laypersons. I have achieved comprehension through extensive experimentation. It is simpler to satisfy their queries. I bless you with the use of my wisdom. Okay, there's some Hypatia. She's been very quiet, and we've been wanting to know more about her personality. So it seems she's a little bit more personable than you would normally get out of a tech priest, both because she's in the biologist sect, but also she's just been out in the world more. These guys tend to like shut themselves in a monastery for like 60 years, like trying to fix one power converter. And over the course of that time, they become like 90% machine, and then they get out and they're like, why is everybody so annoying? I just want to go back to fixing power converters. Would I describe Hypatia as a cutie patootie? No. She's cool. I like her. She's got 4 mechadendrites, which is a lot. She's got a omniscient axe and a melt-a-gun. That's pretty fun. Sammy says, for whom the bell tolls. What bell? May his fight on the hill in the early day. Constant chill deep inside. Shouting, can I run through the endless fray? On they fight for the right, yes, but who's to say? By the authority of the Holy Ordos and Tyrant Cabal, I'm clear to access any location I deem necessary. I can go where the fuck I want. If you do not wish to prolong your existence in this mortal realm, you will answer my questions. Oh, that's a funny one. So, oh, sorry, if you wish to prolong. I thought it was if you don't wish. I think just telling him how it is will be better. By the authority of the Holy Ordos and Tyrantine Cabal, I am cleared to access any location I deem necessary in my search for Canoness Marcella's murderer. Query accepted. Unit reauthorized. The tech priest flinches once more. Show the leaf in the ashes. What do you know about the murder? I do not possess such information. As the part of Flexosarius absorbs mineral feed, so I am absorbed in my work. Intensely absorbed. Where'd you last see the Canoness? During the operational shift prior to the festivities, and I should talk more like a tech priest. During the operational shift prior to the festivities and the previous visitation period encompassed intervals from 3 to 5 operational shifts. The Canonist unit characterized this as an inspection, a flagrant abuse of her function. Did you see anything suspicious in the chapel? I'm not allowed to visit that area. Furthermore, I critically downgraded the chapel's priority after an incident. While moving along the adjacent route shortly before the commencement of the festivities, I heard sounds I identified as human screaming. I believe the Canonist unit was utilizing the chamber for purposes other than those described. Yes! 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 Is that what you heard? Is that what you heard? Yes, yes, yes? Something like that? It would have been louder, I'm sure. Answer my other questions. Cries in the chapel. This is like something from The Witcher. And this actually happens in The Witcher 1. There's a, you keep hearing about this, in the first chapter of Witcher 1, you keep hearing about this mystery of where a like screaming ghost, like a ghost of a wailing woman goes to this tower, like at midnight on a lot of different nights. Like it's just something that happens that everyone talks about in the area. And it kind of becomes part of your investigation, but nothing ever comes of it. And later on, Geralt hooks up with this random woman, and she's like, okay, meet me at the tower at midnight. And he's like, but there's a ghost. And she's like, what? What ghost? What are you talking about? Do you have any suspicions about the murder? Hypotheses are categorically absent. I remind you that I am an agrosphere biologist with a large number of unfulfilled protocols, from which this conversation is distracting me. Show the leaf. I found one of your plants in the chapel where the Battle Sisters were slain. Explain how it came to be there. By theft. One turn prior to the commencement of the festivities, an unidentified unit breached my sanctum and stole a cutting of this plant. Log carefully. Of a highly toxic plant. Contact with exposed flesh results in the formation of painful blisters. What happens if one inhales the smoke from this leaf? The description of this plant's properties specifies a prohibition on combustion, citing the Botanica Venemus Volume 4. Know ye that this plant is ill disposed to fire, and its smoke scorches the breath, thereafter inducing false visions, that is to say, hallucinations. And should any fool breathe the smoke deeply in for too long, they shall yield up their soul to the God Emperor entirely. End citation. I believe that Canonist Marcella was poisoned. You are a specialist in poisons, and I'm very keen to hear what you have to say on the matter. Show a post-mortem pic of the Canonist. I am an agrosphere biologist. My expertise is in the cultivation of flora, not lethal intoxication. Okay. What are you working on? I was synthesizing nutrient compounds in order to enhance flora productivity. I desire to return to that task. The array of chemicals on the table is wholly unsuited for the production of fertilizer. You are distorting the data, agrosphere biologist, or as the lingua catalog suggests, filling our heads with manure. Do not compost our cerebral matter, for my cranial cogitator is resistant to your falsehoods. Okay, she maybe is a cutie patootie. Alright. You're not producing fertilizer here. Speak the truth and quickly. The Lord Calixtus requested toxic compounds. I prepare concoctions for him in strict accordance with the recipes, and only in low concentrations. He then ingests them to build metabolic resistance. Governor Hax is aware that any deviation from the prescribed dosage during preventative consumption of poisons may lead to his death, and so he trusts no one but me with this process. This data was classified. Alright. I already know your duties. I'm a tech priest of the Genitor Order, assigned at the palace with the capacity of agrosphere biologist. So that's the same order as Hypatia is in. I'm entrusted with the cultivation of the agri-conservatory and the maintenance of greenhouse mechanisms. Interrogation 85. The Lucid Palace doesn't employ just anyone. How did you earn such an honor? Were there truly no better candidates? Better? With all due respect, my candidacy was optimal. The Fabricator General himself blessed my... The tech priest cuts himself off. My knowledge and diligence were recognized at the highest level. That'll be all. Alright. So, This is technically correct, it would seem. The Sisters of Battle were killed by poisonous smoke from the plants mixed into the incense. Some information contradicts this determination. Although the floor filters look north than the rest of the mechanisms in the chapel, they're badly clogged up. However, Hypatia said that that wouldn't have caused that. Like the floor filters would have been okay. So somebody took a further step. So I think the plant was the murder weapon, but not just they put it in the fire and accidentally killed themselves. One turn prior to the festivity, someone broke into the Agressier biologist's laboratory and stole a freshly cut stem from a poisonous plant. Cries in the chapel. What could be causing somebody to scream in the chapel? So, the unauthorized units go this way and that.
At once.
Hey. A dark sign. Oh no. That was like a hazy vision showed the moment from the attack. One figure struck another from behind and wounded the victim in the neck. Dried blood stains in the cracks of the floor. Halt, this area is restricted by order of his lordship, Lord Calixus Hax. The decrees of Governor Hax do not extend to the servants of the Holy Ordos. A thousand pardons, sir. We didn't recognize you, but you still may not enter without a rebreather. Why would I need a rebreather? The firefight compromised the chamber's windows, and the external atmosphere has breached the interior. It's toxic at this altitude. That's right. It's not just the plant poison. The air outside is toxic. Where can I find a rebreather? With a quartermaster in the armory, sir. Yeah. So there are basically two different ways that could have gone. I guess we just gotta go that way. Sister Helia and Priscilla. The Sisters of Battle greet you by making the sign of the Aquila almost at the same time. One is very young, the other is older with a clouded eye. Judging by the scars, it is clearly the result of a poorly healed injury. Acolyte, my name is Sister Helia, and you and my comrade at arms is Sister Priscilla. We know that you are searching for the heretic who killed the Canoness and her Celestians. Please tell us what you know, or else let us aid you in capturing the perpetrator. We pray for your success, servant of the Golden Throne, and that swift retribution be brought down upon the malefactor. Spare us a little of your time. Where and when did you last see the Canoness? When the Canoness inspected the Lucid Palace before the Invocatum Sanctus, she wanted to make sure that there was nothing that might threaten the concluding liturgy taking place in the chapel. I saw her walking down the corridor with the Celestians, and nothing in their appearance suggested imminent disaster. She grimaces bitterly. So many times have I recalled those moments, but nothing, not a single hint, not a single clue. God, Emperor, forgive my invigilance. I understood there were screams coming from the chapel. Do you know anything about that? The sisters exchanged glances. Neither of them was eager to speak first, but eventually the younger one forces out the words, Helia, we will have to answer that. Okay, nobody was boning there. How long is this beta? It is the first act. It is the first act of the game. There are 2 extended investigations. Probably, if you're playing first time, probably about 20, maybe 30 hours. I'm taking a little bit longer because I'm streaming, obviously, so I have to read stuff out loud. Yeah, I would say maybe 15, 20 hours if you're just playing by yourself. Pontifex Cardius. The Lucidians have long been spreading deplorable rumors about him. To silence his ill-wishers once and for all, the Pontifex decided to undergo the trial of faith and invited Canoness Marcella herself to witness his commitment to the Creed. We did not believe that the Honorable Pontifex was involved in the murder, for it was Arch-Cardinal Ignato who chose him for the procession. I hope this explanation satisfies you. What kind of ceremonies causes a person to scream as if they were being tortured? Some trials require self-sacrifice, Acolyte, and that is all I can say on the matter, as I know little else. Sister Helia clearly realizes that her explanations are unconvincing, but she is telling the truth. Moreover, it is evident that she herself is confused. Whatever happened in the chapel, it was not part of her order's usual customs. One moment. Why do you not suspect the Pontifex? Because he himself volunteered to undergo the trial. The Honorable Pontifex proved his devotion to the God Emperor. Otherwise, Canoness Marcella would not have allowed him to lead the procession during the celebration. Cool. Who did it? Priests of Mars. Greed and heresy have consumed their souls. Seek out the tech priest with a mechadendrite claw and a shoulder burned by a melta. You will surely get a confession from him. Your sister's young and may be mistaken. What do you think? I am with her on this, Acolyte. I believe the Adeptus Mechanicus from the Lay of Worlds could well have committed such a terrible crime. Do not let Sister Priscilla's age discourage you. She often perceives the very heart of corruption where others do not. Where can I find him? We do not know if he's in hiding. Among his own kind, likely. Why do you suspect them? Because of the Battle of the Docks, Canoness Marcella learned that a heretical machine had fallen into the hands of the tech priests, and we went to the docks at the Lucid Palace to destroy the abomination and accuse the guilty. And what did the servants of the Omnissiah do? They stood between their cargo and us, intending to fight back. Us, the daughters of the God Emperor. Clearly their bounty mattered more to them than the vows they made to the Imperium. But before we could unleash our righteous wrath upon them, the palace guards intervened, and the governor ordered that the containers be opened. We did not find the unholy mechanism therein, but Canoness Marcella made it clear she would not let the matter rest. I cannot help but note the Fabricator General's conduct. At first he was leading his servants, we could hear his voice, but then he evidently fled, deserting them at the first sign of combat. Regardless, he was absent when Lord Calixtus arrived. I don't think he would flee out of self-preservation, because that's not his real body. So. Several red-robed priests fled from Arath that day, but only one remained in the palace. The wounds he received in the barely ignited confrontation must have been too severe. Your words are noted. May you catch the fiend soon, and may he confess his crimes just as quickly. Go back to the chapel and look around. Nothing new here, I think. Just taking a quick look around now that Aspis is with us. Yeah, nothing new. Battle Sisters used a trance. As far as we know, the Battle Sisters used their incense to enter a trance during the Trial of Faith. Because a little bit is fine. It's only if it's a lot. By taking advantage of the Sisters of Battle being distracted by a conflict with the tech priests, the Fabricator General infiltrated the chapel to install a reconnaissance servoscope. So he did do that, yes. I'm quite sure he did that. we could go into the
Keeping my
poison
eyes
area
open.
now. Just wanted to... We might only get one shot at going in there because of the thing where the rebreathers are one use. So I wanted to make sure we had a look around before we did. Okay. Okay, drop a save there. Let's go in. I have a rebreather. Let me pass. Sir. To the righteous one reading this, I could not take the martyr's hand from the palace. I had to entrust the relic to the God Emperor, but it still awaits salvation. I pray you, protect the relic from the creatures of darkness, for I had a vision. They are coming for it. Okay. Surgeon autogun.
Moving.
I guess that's a new autogun for Hamar. Pretty cool. Servant's corpse. Before you lies a corpse dressed in servant's livery. Decomposition has already begun to set in. The body's lying face up, its eyes wide open and its right hand slightly clenched. There are several dark red spots on the collar directly beneath a small cut on the neck. You cannot shake the feeling that the killer took the victim by surprise. Distinctive features. There's an augmentation seal marked MRS 064 on the victim's neck, below the back of the head. In addition to patches visible on the collar, MRS Keelotic. Inspect the dead man's hand. It's empty, but the skin is covered in ugly, drained blisters as if from a burn. Determine the cause of death. So, he was stabbed. You find a standard vox in the inner pocket. Servants use these to receive orders from different parts of the elusive palace. You hear the nervous voice of a young man in the recording. Sister, I've received a special assignment, one that I can't refuse. It's from someone far too important. The person I'll be assisting has a pronounced limp, so I will most likely be delivering a message or carrying heavy things. It's nothing unpleasant, but please pray for me all the same. So we saw that the fabricator general had, the body he's borrowing had a limp. Also, Cardias has a limp. Okay. What's going on down here? So it sounds like the servant was supposed to be moving the thing. That's funny. These windows are broken, but because the outside texture is on the intact parts of the window, the broken parts of the window just show nothing, rather than showing the outside. Obviously, that's just a feature that's not done yet. Yeah, so I think this is someone framed the Fabricator General.
At once.
The cargo delivery doesn't have anything to do with the Eagle Warp coffin from last stream. I think it might, because There's a relic here that is a saint's hand, it sounds like. The martyr's hand might be related to Saint Sibelius, who was called a martyr, and this is a festival of Saint Sibelius. So it's possible both items are tied to the same guy, and so there's going to be like a crystal connection up here too. But so far not directly. If I were to consider the questionable source of information you refer to as the warp echo, I would conclude that the injuries on this servant are concurrent with those observed during our encounter with the warp phenomena. Okay. So both of these guys have a limp. Nonsense, foolish commoner. It was one of you lot slacking off and disparaging your betters. I swear by the throne, it wasn't just chatter, it was a voice, an echo of sermons. We checked the rooms, but they were empty. Then we put an ear to the wall, and we all started shaking in our boots. From these horrid walls, I tell you. It was in the walls. Every student knows that a confessor once stayed in the palace and then disappeared. What if the thing that lurks in the walls has taken him? Were there intruders in the chambers? No, there were not, and that is that. Those wails of yours were just the wind howling. We're in the spires, blasted. Why are you making the sign of Aqua again? Get to work.
Always on the move.
Okay, I'm pretty tired. I think this might be a good spot to hop off. I still think the screaming in the chapel was... Well, it was either the Pontifex getting his face burnt, or some unknown person was in there with the canoness doing something. That would be the funniest answer, which is why I desperately hope for it to be true. Yeah. So I think that'll do it. Thank you so much for coming in today, everybody. I'll be around on Sunday. Might pop in on Saturday, but maybe not. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I won't stream this game until Tuesday though. So Sunday is Stars in Time, and then Tuesday is back to Warhammer. And if I stream anytime in between there, I'll be playing just random stuff. Later, everybody.